Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, March 4th, 2019. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. It's great to have you back. It's great to see you again. It's great to talk to all of you. And yes, I know my voice sounds a little funny, but guess what? I'm still here. You can't get rid of me. You can't spike my drink. You can't poison me. I'm still here. I'm going to try to power through. I won't be, opining a lot. Waxing poetic. It's all going to be about the guests today because we have a lot of them on the program. We have a lot to discuss as always, and also I want to make it to the end. So, it's been good this morning. I hope it holds up. Of course, we're coming off UFC 235, Las Vegas. I was there, T-Mobile Arena. Jon Jones is still the light heavyweight champion of the UFC, as you well know, although it got dicey there for a quick second. He landed an illegal knee, lost 2 points. Prior to that, looked like he landed an illegal kick, did not lose any points. And Anthony Smith could have taken the way out. He could have said, you know what? I'm going to run with this. I'm going to take this DQ, and I'm going to be champion. He did not. He didn't think twice. He ended up losing via decision. It was a pretty one-sided affair. But in doing so, I think Anthony Smith earned the respect of the MMA community. And not to say that he didn't have it before, but wow, what an honorable thing to do. In fact, I noted on, I think it was Saturday night, that that's one of the most honorable and impressive things that I've ever seen covering this sport. There's a lot of people who would have done that. And I know I joked a little bit that I would have done it too. I'm sort of, playing devil's advocate here, but with Bisping and Chael and Dominic, of course I would defer to the fighters on this one. And of course I would be more honorable than that. I wouldn't be a weasel, as Dana White put it. But don't tell me you didn't think, just for a little brief second that would have been the smart thing to do. He would have been hated for life, but he would have won the belt, gotten a rematch, pay-per-view points, all that and more. In the end, though, he loses. Jon Jones moves on, still the champion, racking up those title defenses. He's now ever so close to George St. Pierre for the record. And it seems like maybe Thiago Santos is next. We shall find out. Of course, in the co-main event, the biggest news of the night is that Tyron Woodley is no longer the welterweight champion of the UFC. He lost to Kamaru Usman in a very one-sided affair. The first time in a welterweight title fight that there was a 50-44 since UFC 111, George St. Pierre versus Dan Hardy. It's been a while. Body shots galore. Usman breaks the record for most body shots landed in a UFC fight, 192. What a performance from Kamaru Usman, who we found out afterwards was battling a fracture in his foot, his left foot, I believe. I saw him in a wheelchair Saturday night. Pretty crazy that he was able to fight like that with a fracture in his foot. So, Usman's now the champ. Does he get Colby Covington next? We shall find out. They had a little melee, if you will, a little run-in, a little fracas, a little brouhaha in the Palms, I do believe, the lobby yesterday. A lot of heat there. Colby Covington did a phenomenal job, in my opinion, of gaining back some of that momentum, stealing the headlines, getting back into the narrative. It seems like he's the number one contender once again at 170, and we will talk to him about that later in the program. Also of note, Ben Askren finally gets his first UFC fight. He gets a win. It started off horribly for him. It looked like he was about to get knocked out. He ends up submitting Robbie Lawler via bulldog choke, and it was controversial. And in my opinion, it was the perfect way for him to debut. And I know a lot of you were dumbfounded by that statement, but it just adds to the heat, baby. And now he's on his way to London, and he's going back and forth with Darren Till, and all is well for funky Ben Askren. Pedro Munoz knocks out Cody Garbrandt. That's now 3 straight knockouts for Cody Garbrandt. Wow. Who would have thought that we'd ever be in this position? He has not won since he won the belt against Dominic Cruz. Crazy. What a sport. Weili Zhang with the win. Johnny Walker wins in a matter of seconds and then injures his shoulder in the celebration. Crazy. Zabit Magomedsharipov remains undefeated in the UFC. All that and more will be discussed on today's program. We've got a loaded lineup, so let me get to the lineup, and then we'll get to our first guest of the day. At around 3:50, we're going to be joined by Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley is having a big day today. He is releasing his debut album, Chaos Theory. Unfortunate timing. One could argue it should have happened last week. Use the media to get the word out. But here he is. Handled the loss like a pro. We'll see how he rebounds. We'll see if he'll ever get a welterweight. This is very reminiscent of the Stipe Miocic situation. Stipe is going to have a hard time getting that title fight after his run as champion. Did not go very well, butted heads with the UFC. I can foresee a similar thing with Tyron Woodley, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened. So we'll talk to him. Appreciate him coming on at around 3:55. Mackenzie Dern is going to join us. You may have heard the news that she is now pregnant, going to take a break from her UFC career, BJJ as well. We'll talk to her at around 3:40 or so. We're going to talk to Al Iaquinta at 3:25. I'm looking forward to talking to him. He has been in the news. UFC said that maybe, or Dana White in particular, said that maybe he'd fight Donald Cerrone after the Donald Cerrone fight against Conor McGregor fell through. I don't know if I believe that 100%, but we'll get his thoughts on Ferguson now fighting for the interim belt and, Ferguson getting passed over. It's going to be Poirier versus Holloway at UFC 236, April 13th. He's not fighting anyone at the moment, so we'll get Al Iaquinta's thoughts. It's always good to talk to him on the program. We will also talk to Diego Sanchez, who had a big win, defeated Mickey Gall. All of a sudden in 2019, Diego Sanchez is on a winning streak. Who would have thought we'd see that? This is the guy who won the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, the very first winner, before Forrest Griffin won. 14 years later, he's on a winning streak. People said he had CTE, that he was crazy, all that and more. Diego Sanchez winning in 2019 against Mickey Gall, someone who's like more than a decade younger than him. Unbelievable. What a great character. Mike Winkeljohn and Brandon Gibson back-to-back. First, it will be, well, in the order that I'm going, Gibson, then Winkeljohn. They had a big night with John Jones in the main event. They both cornered him, two of the very best coaches in the game. We'll talk to those two individuals about the big win. We'll talk to Johnny Walker about how he's feeling after the win over Misha Cirkunov, the shoulder. What a performance. What a find by the UFC. What a guy. What a character. Dancing on his way in, dancing on his way out. Just an amazing personality and an absolute buzzsaw. It's been really cool to see what he's done in a short amount of time. We'll talk to Max Holloway about jumping up to 155 and fighting for that interim belt. Had the press conference last week. And so I'm curious to see what he thinks about it all, about fighting for the interim belt, and also about fighting Dustin Poirier 7 years later, 7 years after they fought at UFC 143. Henry Hoof will stop by. He finally gets his UFC champion. We'll talk to him about that. He, of course, is the coach of Kamaru Usman, and Colby Covington will stop by at 125. We'll talk to him about his crazy week in Las Vegas. But first, let us go to the Skype machine and say hello to Ben Askren. Now, I will tell you that in the 10 years of doing this program, I've never pre-taped an interview, but Ben Askren is on a flight as we speak back home to Milwaukee from Las Vegas. So I bent the rules for Ben Askren. I thought it was worth it. I tried to hide it, but as you'll hear in a matter of seconds, he broke kayfabe right off the bat that we had to pre-tape this like an hour ago. So it's not that long ago, same spot, same location. I could have hit it, but I'm very transparent. I'm one who lays his cards out on the table. So without further ado, let us talk to Ben Askren, who had that controversial win over Robbie Lawler Saturday night in Las Vegas. Ben Askren, I appreciate you doing this in the Las Vegas airport on your way back home. First things first, congratulations on the win Saturday. How are you feeling? I see you're a little bit bruised up.
Yeah, I got, my eyes are a little swollen, but I'm doing great. I had a good day, nice relaxing day yesterday. Hung out with friends, went in the hot tub, took a nap, all kinds of good stuff yesterday. So now I'm just headed home. In the airport, unfortunately, my flight time landed right during your regularly scheduled show. So thank you for making the time for me.
No problem, but you just broke kayfabe, Ben. I wasn't going to tell anyone that this was pre-taped. I was going to keep my streak alive, and now you just exposed me to the world. But it is the first time in the 10-year history of this program that we have pre-taped an interview, so that's another huge distinction for you, another feather in your cap up there with the Hodge Awards and the Olympic team and whatnot.
Well, I don't do things like most people do them, so I think it kind of worked. You know what? Honestly, Harold, I think, reading my Twitter, I think some people are offended to the guy that looks like me can go beat up someone that looks like Robbie. I think people are actually genuinely kind of upset about that.
Yes. They're maybe upset about the finish as well. We'll get there in a second. I want to know what was going through your mind in the first 30 seconds of this fight when he's picking you up, when he's landing those shots. We've never seen you in a position like that before.
Yeah.
You're just trying to survive. But what is going through your mind? This couldn't have started out worse for you.
I know, right? Well, you know what? Actually, it starts out great because I shoot, I drag, I kind of almost have his back within the first 5 seconds of the fight. So that was fantastic. Then he slipped his arm through, and I just underestimated the power he was going to do. He picks me up, he slams me. I'm in a terrible position. Not only that, but he's got my arm tapped under my body, and he's blasting me. And so all I'm thinking about is catching with my free hand. My other one is trapped, catching the hand that he's hitting me with, and I couldn't get it. And so at that point, I said, "Keep fighting back to my back." That's not a quality that I really like showcasing. Frankly, I don't care if anyone knows, but I'm one tough son of a gun, and I think that's something that probably everyone walks away thinking Saturday is, "Oh my God, that guy took a beating, and he just kept coming forward and did not quit, and figured out how to get the job done."
Were you ever out at any point? It looked like your head snapped back at one point.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Were you worried that they would stop the fight, that Herb Dean would stop the fight?
I honestly wasn't even thinking about that. It was just find the wrist, find the wrist, find the wrist, find the wrist. That was all. That was literally all that was going through my head at that point in time.
Once you were able to weather that storm, did you feel like you were out of it, or did you get right back into things mentally?
Well, I knew I was in a pretty damn bad situation. I had blood all over my face,
Yes.
And so it was like, okay. I ended up getting a lock around his chest, and then I ended up fighting out from there. I knew I was in a pretty bad situation, but that didn't mean I was going to stop fighting. And so I kept coming forward. I ended up eventually getting the takedown, and then eventually getting the choke, and that was all she wrote. And frankly, I thought it was a great debut. It showcased a lot of things. It was an insane fight that a lot of people had a lot of fun watching. It showcased my toughness. It showed my ability to find a win despite adversity.
So Herb Dean is getting roasted. Everyone's saying that it was an early stoppage, including Dana White. Was it the right call in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the one video, Ariel, where you just see his arm.
Yeah.
It's all the way up on my head, and it just drops. And it almost just bounces off the mat. And there's absolutely no way that you can say at that point in time he was conscious. That is the move of an unconscious man. And I think where the confusion is the first time that Herb kind of like comes at me, there was some confusion on my part because I wasn't looking straight at Herb in the eyes. I was kind of also trying to check out Robbie, and I kind of loosened my grip. And as you know, the blood choke, a lot of times when you go out, all you need is a little blood back and you wake back up. And that was kind of, I think, what happened. So by the time I loosened up a little bit, he's already back in the game. But you don't have to hold someone unconscious for a 3 count or anything. You just have to render them unconscious for a period of time. And so Herb did make the right call. And then the other thing that people, are negating about the situation is I was under his chin. I had a minute and 40 left. I crushed watermelon. There was no path to escape for Robbie. There was none. He did not have his chin block me. I was underneath his chin. That fight was as over as it gets.
Could you feel his body go limp? Did it go from stiff to weaker? Could you feel him actually going out?
Well, I felt the hand fall, and
Yeah.
if you watch the hand fall, it actually even like the back of his hand hits the mat. It's not like he put his hand down, tried to push or grab or anything. It was just like the arm is very, very, very clearly just falling. It's unconscious. And I was trying to both look at Robbie, make sure I was squeezing tight enough, pay attention to Herb. There was a lot of things going on there for me.
Is it true that you wanted to go back out and corner Tyron after your fight and they didn't let you?
Well, I did, and then listen, I had already done my due diligence. I had talked to them on Tuesday about doing so, and they said, "Hey, no big deal." And I was actually making an issue because I thought that I was going to be the first fight on the pay-per-view. I was going to have 2 fights, come back out and corner Tyron, and they said, "No, you're right before Tyron." And they said, "Hey, they're walking different corners. There's going to be plenty of time. It's not going to be a big deal." And so, I thought it wasn't going to be an issue, and then, it became an issue.
What did you make of Tyron's performance?
Man, that's something Tyron struggled with for a long time. The one thing that, if you look at his Achilles heel, and it's the Rory McDonald fight all over. He didn't pull the trigger. He kept looking for the perfect opportunity, and Marty, to his credit, kept fighting hard. He kept coming forward, and he didn't make it easy on Tyron. And so he just never gave him that perfect opportunity. But what Tyron has to realize, and this is what I would have told him, and I don't know that I would have made a difference, but you're not going to find the perfect opportunity sometimes. Like, my fight didn't go perfect, and you just got to keep on fighting. You got to find your opportunity, find your way to win, figure it out.
Did Marty impress you? Did he surprise you?
He didn't impress me at all, really. I was really frustrated with Tyron not pulling the trigger. You know, because obviously I practice Tyron all the time. I know I know the tools he has available to him, and like I said, he just didn't pull the trigger. I would say more, you know, it was a case of Tyron not executing than Marty having an amazing fight.
You talked to Tyron afterwards?
I talked to him a little bit afterwards. I texted him a minute yesterday. You know, we haven't had a super in-depth, long conversation, but, you know, I'm sure we're going to catch up again here in the next day or two.
Is it weird for you because you win your debut, but he's so down? Is it hard to fully appreciate the moment and be happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, you know, I can tell you genuinely, I didn't really see a scenario where Tyron lost that fight. I really didn't. You might call me crazy, but I didn't see it happening.
To the best of my knowledge, backstage, you and Colby had a bit of a run-in. You guys had a back and forth. What was said?
It wasn't much of a back and forth. It was like, he said one thing to me, and I kept badgering him. The security had to say, "Will you please leave Colby alone?" And I said, "Okay." I realize he's low IQ and he has no desire in going back and forth with me because it'll turn into a roast fest. But I will leave him alone because you're asking me to do so nicely.
What did you say?
You know what? I'm not even recalling at this moment. I know I made fun of his pathetic little microphone at the open workout that he had. I think I asked him why he never called me out because he's scared of me. And I can't remember what else I said to him, but there was a handful of things before the security guard asked me to politely stop.
Okay, so it seems, though, like he is going to be next for Kamaru Usman. Are you okay with that?
I mean, it's not ideal, but yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so he's next for Usman, it seems, although we've heard this story before. You said afterwards that you already have your flight booked to London.
I do.
That's accurate? You booked the flight. You have paid for it.
I booked it 2 weeks ago.
Did you book it on your own?
No, I got the UFC to book it for me.
And so they're on board with this idea of you fighting the winner of Till Masvidal?
Well, I didn't really totally tell them what my intentions in going to London were, but they agreed for me to book the flight. I think they have me as, you know, they have guests, obviously guest fighters at all of the fights. But I thought it was perfect for me to get Till Masvidal because Till's someone I've wanted to fight for quite a long time. He's very highly ranked. He just fought it for a title. He's in his home country. Well, close enough. And so, yeah, that's where I'm going.
This is Darren Till on Twitter yesterday. Ben, your performance was expletive. You barely won. You are ugly as expletive. That chin is too big not to miss. You have no respect for no one. Oh, did I say you are a curly-haired expletive? See you in London, Muppet. What did you make of that tweet?
I mean, that's like a typical Darren Will tweet. That was like a tongue twister there. No respect for no one. I believe that means I have respect for everyone. You don't do double negative. Yeah, I mean the guy is he's just this young punk, got a chip on his shoulder, very hostile. So obviously I was trying to antagonize him. I got what I wanted, and I'll be in London in 9 days.
Are you hoping that he wins? Because that's the money fight here, not so much you and Masvidal.
Yeah, I think it's a huge fight. I think there's a really good chance he wins. I think the chances he wins are significantly greater than the chances he loses.
And have they said to you, okay, you will get him if he wins? Like, has that been said, or are you just going to try to make it happen?
If not, I'm going to sit down. Hunter Campbell's actually going to London, and I said we talked. We said we'd sit down and have dinner when we get there, and that was all I've talked. Dana doesn't talk to me. We don't deal with each other at all. So obviously I haven't even talked to him at all.
He didn't talk to you after the fight?
No.
Does that bum you out?
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty par for the course. The guy, listen, Errol, I don't know what this guy has against me, but he obviously had something against me in 2013, and it's pretty obvious, even though he tries to say he doesn't, that he does now. His body language, his action speak one way, even though his words may speak another. And his disdain for me after the fight on Saturday night was so palpable. You could almost touch it.
Really? You could feel it?
I don't know what his problem is. I really don't. I've tried multiple times now to sit down with him and have a reasonable conversation. Say, what is your issue with me? He won't even sit down with me, Ariel.
You could feel that he was upset after your fight?
Yeah, and I obviously read all of his comments on Twitter.
Right. So what did you feel like? Could you see him? Did you try to go up to him? Did you see him cage side?
Yeah, when I said something to him in the post-fight speech, but then obviously I hustled back. I tried to get out with Tyron. They didn't let me out. I was bitching and complaining. I ended up then going to watch Tyron's fight because they wouldn't let me out somewhere else. Then I had to go get stitches in my eye, and then I ended up having to do a bunch of media. And no, at no point did I cross paths with him.
By the way, what did you say to him on the stage at the ceremonial weigh-ins? I saw you go up to him right before you squared off.
I just said I was back.
Sorry, say it again. What did you say?
I wanted some pushback.
You wanted some pushback. What does that mean?
Man, it means every conflict needs two sides, doesn't it? And he's trying to fake like there's not this conflict. And listen, it's real. It's genuine. We don't even have to make believe. And that's the best kind of conflict.
Right.
So just say it.
Yes. Own it, right? Play it up.
Own it. Yes.
By the way, did you see that video of Covington and Usman and Usman's manager, Ali Abdelaziz? Do you see this?
It's just so ridiculous on so many levels. But how about when Colby hides behind the old lady? I mean, how bizarre was that?
Did you see
was
Usman's
like,
manager get
holy
in the
crap,
mix?
is this really happening?
You see Usman's manager get in the mix?
Yeah, but what if you fast forward, Colby hides behind this woman. And I'm confused because Marty was in a wheelchair after the fight, like he hurt his leg or something, and now he's jumping at Colby a whole bunch of times here. So, man, I have so many questions about this video.
And in this fight, like, who do you root for? Because I feel like you have issues with both men.
I'm not rooting for anyone. I mean, if you I don't have to root for anyone. I could think they I think they both suck. And Ali Abdelaziz did call me out on Twitter last night for the Marty fight because I think he's probably upset with Colby for some reason.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, though, I think, and I said this before, Tyron's fight, but I think Marty's is a little better version of Colby. You know, a little faster, a little stronger, a little better wrestler, a little better striker. So, that's obviously I've been wrong before, but that was how the fight going.
To that point, do you think there's any chance that they punish Colby and actually give you the fight against Usman next?
I mean, so not only would what would make sense is Tyron and Colby get the fight. That would make a lot of sense.
Right.
And I would get to fight Marty. But I think the fact of the matter is I'm a bigger star than both these guys, and I don't think it's close, Ariel. The UFC Point Blank told me that of all the fights on UFC 235, I had the most interest. And we're talking about two huge stars in John Jones and Tyron Woodley, and I had the most interest. I have way more heat right now than either of these guys. And if Marty's smart, because he's getting pay-per-view cut now, he's probably going to call my name.
Why do you think that is? I mean, even on our YouTube, your videos are doing like 3 to 4 times more than everyone else. Where is this interest coming from?
Yeah, I said I'll give you some guesses, but I'm kind of perplexed by it myself. There was this pushback for me, and then when I got signed, it's been this like total 180, this flip, and I think a lot of it is just like I'm just genuine. I'm just telling you what I feel, who I am. I'm not faking. I'm not posing. I'm not acting like a tough guy. And I think there's just something so real about that people are enjoying right now.
By the way, what if they come to you and say, no, we really want to run it back with Robbie. It was controversial. We have to do this again. What's your response?
No, I didn't want to fight Robbie in the first place. And listen, I'm sorry that Dana's guy didn't win and he's touting about it right now and he wants to run it back. But we're just not going to do that. I mean, I didn't want to fight him in the first place. And how does that benefit me? I mean, if I beat him again, I'm not really in any better of a spot than I am right now. I'm in a spot right now where I can have a whole bunch of huge fights. You could put me and Marty on the pay-per-view, it'd be a huge fight. You could put me and Till together, it'd be a huge fight. And so why do I want to go have a fight that I didn't already have? And as a matter of fact, that I won fairly and squarely.
Just curious, when you walked out, when you had the whole experience, when you went back to the locker room, I mean, I'm sure you've dreamed of what it would feel like to be a UFC fighter. You went through the whole fight week. You got to wear the prestigious Reebok uniform. You had your name on it. I mean, it was all
Are
great.
you trying to taunt me right now, Ariel?
No, why? What do you what do you mean? I just wanted to know.
You're antagonizing me, right? You're trying to get me to say something crazy.
No,
I
I'm
won't
not.
say it. I'm not taking your bait right now.
Absolutely. I just wanted to know if it lived up or perhaps exceeded your expectations, the experience.
I had a great time. You know what? I told Megan O'Leary this. She interviewed me afterwards. For whatever reason, and I don't know. And listen, I pride myself on being a sports psychology expert. I think there was something about my prior performances to this where I felt like I needed to be so perfect and I had to finish so fast, and I put a lot of pressure on myself because my competition wasn't quite at my level. And this one, it was like there was nothing to worry about. I just have to go win this fight. If I beat Robbie, it's gonna be great, you know. And so it was just like fun. I enjoyed the moment. I enjoyed the whole week there. Everything about it, I enjoyed it. So, man, I had a great week. I loved it. And obviously, I got to heal up for a few days here, but I'm excited to get back in there.
Have you ever been slammed like that before?
A few times. Yeah, not very many. There's not a lot of people. I mean, I've wrestled with a lot of people. There's not a lot of people that could have generated the power that he did up and down. And like, I just totally underestimated how fast he was going to get me up and down, and it put me in that bad spot where he had my wrist tapped under my body.
It was amazing. What a sight. And I thought the whole thing was not going to end well for you, and how you turned things around was remarkable in its own right. My final thing for
That's
you
kind
is...
of like a metaphor for my life right now, huh?
It is. Well, I thought I got killed for this. I said it was the perfect fight for you. It went, you came back from adversity, you win. It's somewhat controversial. People may hate you more now, but they care. That's all you want, right? People care. You don't want to be indifferent.
Yeah. And listen, the other thing I have to say about this is, if that was Colby and not Robbie, I think everyone would forgot about it and been pumped. They're sad because Robbie's their favorite fighter. Listen, I like him too. He's a good dude, great fighter, and that's why they're so pissed. But if that's Colby or someone else people don't really care about, I don't think anyone gives that two thoughts, because when you see that arm drop, the arm drops. It's unconscious.
More controversial submission, that one or the Ryan Thomas one from back in the day?
I would say the Ryan Thomas, because when you go watch, I'm sure you've watched it. I think you're just trying to play the fence, because I know that's what you do a lot of times. If you watch the video of the arm going here, it's all the way up on my head, he's reaching my head, and it just drops to the canvas, and it bounces. The back of his hand bounces on the mat. That is not the move of a conscious man.
Okay, so the plan is go to London, sit there in the front row till wins, maybe have that fight July, August, then fight for the belt around...
Yeah, you know what? I'm even thinking sooner than that. I'm thinking June 8th in Chicago or International Fight Week.
Okay, and then you'll be fighting for the belt like around November or so.
That's what I told you a long time ago.
You did. Not against George St. Pierre, but close enough.
Well, who knows? You never know.
Ben, I appreciate it. I know you have a flight to catch. Thank you so much for doing this.
George, you ask him if he was impressed with my performance.
I will.
Because he said, listen, because when you think about it, George said the thing he was most proud of in his whole life was that he got up from that head kick against Carlos Condit. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes.
And listen, I didn't get up from one. I got up, I don't know how many, it was a whole damn bunch. And Robbie punched me and elbowed me, and he couldn't make me quit. He couldn't put me away. I just kept on fighting.
Is that now the proudest moment of your career?
I don't know about that. I mean, I'd rather not get hit, but I think it shows that I have that capability to do that kind of thing if I need to.
Can you boom roast me before you go? Can you give me a Helwani boom roasted?
Oh my gosh. Ariel, your nose is so big it could suck up all the smog in Las Vegas. Boom roasted.
Thank you, Ben.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Take care. Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
There he is.
Thank you.
Ben Askren, now 1-0 in the UFC. All right, so great stuff there from Ben Askren. Thank you very much to him. You see what he did on Saturday. Let's not waste any time. Let's go to the man that you all want to hear from. Let's go to the Skype machine once again and say hello to Colby Covington. What a week he had in Las Vegas. There he is. Nice jacket, Colby. How are you?
It's good to talk to you again. The mean gene of MMA.
Is that a compliment? I don't know.
It's on who you ask.
Okay. I'll just take it on face value. So are you still in Las Vegas?
Vegas till tomorrow.
Okay. Well, what a week for you. As I said at the top of the show, you did a great job, I think, of stealing back the headlines, gaining the momentum, reasserting yourself in the narrative. It seemed like for a minute, at least to me, like you were kind of slipping away from the narrative. But wow, you just hit every single mark from Thursday through to Sunday. And let's start with Sunday, because this footage emerged via TMZ Sports that you and Kamaru and even Kamaru's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, got into a run-in at the Palms. What happened there? Could you tell us your side of the story?
Staying over at the dump, the Palms, and I'm waiting in the buffet line, Ariel. I'm just trying to get some crab legs. Can the man get some crab legs? Can the man, the champ, get some crab legs in peace? And all of a sudden, low energy Marty comes, that terrorist rat Ali comes, and some other Sasquatch, and then they start pushing and swinging and putting innocent kids' lives in danger, and a pregnant lady. There's a pregnant lady. She's screaming, "I'm pregnant! Stop this!" And Ali's still pushing, trying to make a scene. Usman's still trying to scream at me, "Oh, I'm gonna get you!" And his little Sasquatch is like throwing punches at my friend and is trying to punch me. And it's a complete joke. I can't believe that they allow that in Vegas, and just a bunch of filthy animals.
Did anyone punch you?
He tried to swing at me, but I got cat-like reflexes, so obviously he's not gonna hit me. He's slow as a fucking turtle.
And to the best of your knowledge, anyone get in trouble as a result of this?
I heard that no one got in trouble. I know that the Fertittas own the Palms, so I think they gave that terrorist rat a pass, and they didn't want to hurt Marty Usman's chances of deporting him back to Nigeria before he gets his ass whooping from me.
Okay, and did you say who ignited this? Who started it? Were you in the line? They came up to you, or did you see them? How did it start from your perspective?
Fine with my friend. We were waiting to go to the buffet and get some breakfast, and I wasn't even looking up. I was looking down at my phone, and all of a sudden I get pushed, and ladies start screaming, "Oh, I'm pregnant! Stop this! Don't do this here!" There's a bunch of little kids that are like screaming in the background, and here you got Ali coming over here acting like he's a fighter. I'm like, "Yo, chill out, dude. You're not even a fighter. Maybe you're 1-15 as a fighter, but you're not a real fighter." And then, Marty, he should be on his little victory tour of winning his #1 contendership fight, but he's all getting hostile. And by the way, it's pretty funny, Ariel. He was claiming to have some broken foot. He looked all fine, mighty yesterday, jumping rails, trying to get in my face. So, some more fake news from him, trying to say he was all hurt with his foot and he had a hernia. He looked mighty fine, trying to fight me in the buffet line at the Palms yesterday.
And to the best of your knowledge, did anyone get hurt as a result of this?
That's my knowledge. I really don't know. I had to get out of there right away. They banned me from the Palms property for doing absolutely nothing, just sitting there saying, "Hey, man, we're professionals. I'm going to beat your ass in the cage, man. I'm not going to press charges on you, because the real fucking beating and punishment for you is when we get in that octagon. I don't want your ass deported back to Nigeria." So, I don't know if anybody got hurt. I hope not. I feel for the pregnant lady, and I feel for the kids. It's sad. Marty tries to be this, dad figure and this nice guy and this baby face, but why would you go put innocent people's and children, more importantly, their lives in danger? It's very piss poor, and he's a fake fraud.
Wow, so you were actually staying at the Palms, and as a result of this incident, you've been banned?
Staying at the Palms in a resort, and because of this incident, I'm banned from Palms property for the rest of my life.
Wow, that is and is Usman banned as well? Is Ali banned? Did you hear about what happened to them?
That they were kicking him off the premises, but who really knows? I don't really know if they did. I'd really love to find out, because that's not fair. If I got kicked off for doing nothing, and then they get kicked off for starting and instigating a fight.
Where are you now?
I'm a house in Las Vegas off the strip. I got too much heat now, area. I got to watch my back everywhere I go. I had my security guards with me all weekend, but I wouldn't think that I needed them on Sunday, when I was just going to get sit and get some crab legs from the buffet and get ready to wind things down and go home before I get ready to whoop Marty's ass.
Do you feel unsafe in Vegas right now?
And there's so many people that want my head, at the fights. I had Todd Gurley front row and his crew fucking heckling at me, talking shit. They met, "Fuck Donald Trump, fuck you, Colby, you're gonna get your ass kicked next fight," blah blah blah. And then, just the fans. And the people at all the casinos, man. I'm too high risk. I'm too high profile now, and being Donald Trump's favorite fighter is a big liability for me. So I'm just going to be staying indoors, getting ready for this fight.
Todd Gurley of the Los Angeles Rams was heckling you.
Sure, a bunch of fans were like, "That's Todd Gurley." I was sitting front row, with my security guards, and 4 seats down, there was, my security and a bunch of fans. Oh, that's Todd Gurley and his crew, So, they were heckling me, talking shit, saying some things. Oh, we're gonna fuck you up, Colby. That's why they brought like 10 cops right in front of me, right outside the cage, because they were making sure that nothing went down in the crowd.
Wow. Also wanted to ask before I ask you about the fight itself, Diego Sanchez posted a photo of a picture that appeared to be backstage that you were banned from T-Mobile, but then you were sitting in the arena. So was that not a real picture? What was that all about? Or were you just not allowed backstage? But I saw you backstage, right? You did interviews.
They had those posted around the arena that I wasn't allowed in the arena. So, originally I wanted to crash the weigh-ins, but my sign was outside the T-Mobile. They weren't going to let me in. So I just went among the fans. That you did a poll. 80% of the fans wanted me here this weekend. So, I had to do what the People's Champ does. And I went among the people outside the weigh-ins, and, I was hanging out, signing autographs, kissing babies, doing interviews, doing the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, the T-Mobile security and cops came and escorted me off the premises and said I wasn't allowed back on. So when I came back for the fights, I know I had to hide behind my bodyguards and sneak in. And luckily, they weren't able to notice me on the way in.
Wow, you and Nate Diaz, who would have thought? Birds of a feather. You guys are linked together.
I wouldn't say linked together. We're nothing is together. Our skill level is way apart from each other. He's a bottom feeder. It was funny because he walked by me. He's like, "Fuck you, Colby." He flipped me off when I was sitting front row when he was walking by cage side. So.
Wow.
It's just funny, man. Keep that energy, Nate. If you're so tough, man, let's see it inside the cage, bitch.
Wow. Everyone just so hostile towards you. Okay, so let me ask you about the fight itself. Is there a part of you that was disappointed that Woodley lost, especially in that fashion? Do you feel like you lost out on the bigger fight?
Yeah, I was heartbroken. I was Team Woodley all night, man. I mean, even me and Mama Woodley got into it, but, I had to settle her down and let her know that, I know you're sizing me up, but I got other ladies, I'm a heartbreaker, but tonight I am Team Woodley, and I want your son to win this #1 contender fight. So, I was heartbroken, man. Me and Woodley, this has been built up for so many years through the gym, through everything, man. It just sucks, man. I wanted to be the one that was going to send his career out and finish his career, but that's not the way things lined up, unfortunately. And now we have a new challenger for my belt. So, there's a lot of good build up with Snoozman. He's at Black Zillions, the ATT rivalry there, and it's going to be a good one, man. But let's be honest, Ariel, the best part of the fight this weekend is when they put me on the big screen.
Yes, that was pretty good. What did you make of Woodley's performance?
It was another bore fest from both of them. Woodley, did he break his record for least amount of strikes thrown in a title fight again, Ariel?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think you're referring to the Maia fight, but I don't think he broke it.
Broke it again. He didn't throw very many strikes, but he was so busy worrying about that album Chaos Theories. He was trying to make some rap album about me. He didn't even want to fight, man. He's cashed out, man. He just showed up to get those pay-per-view points off John Jones. So, Tyron Woodley was a shell of his former self, and that wasn't a legitimate win. That was another win for Usman, that he did something after I already did it. I already beat Woodley's ass many years ago. I already beat Maia's ass. I already beat RDA's ass, He keeps doing all these things after I've already done them, Ariel.
What happened as he left the cage? It seemed like you two had to be separated. Did you exchange words? What happened there? Because it was hard to tell on the broadcast.
He came out of the octagon. He came right over to me, and I ran over to get as close as I could without the security pulling me back. I let him know, "Bitch, your time's up, man. Enjoy your #1 contendership win tonight, but next you're going to get your ass whooped." So, I said, "Marty, keep that energy, man. You look real low energy right now. I hope you keep that same energy when I see you in the octagon next."
Wow. You have to admit, though, I mean, there was something impressive about what he did to Woodley. The body shots broke a record for UFC fights in terms of most body shots landed, doing that to a 50-44 on the scorecards. I mean, was there any part of you that was like, all right, Kamaru Usman is legit?
thought he was legit. Look at Woodley. He's 36, 37 years old, man. He didn't even train this training camp, man. He was so busy in Hollywood talking about the Kardashians, talking about the Biebers on TMZ. He was worried about his little rap album. He's worried about doing this acting. He spread himself so thin, Ariel. I mean, that's a shell of his former self, man. He didn't throw any punches. He didn't come to fight, man. I mean, if you think that was impressive, man, wait till you see what I do next fight.
Do you still want to fight Tyron Woodley at some point, or now that he's not the champion, do you not have any interest?
Back, I would love to end his career in a great fashion, spectacular fashion. He deserves to get his lights put out cold and be unconscious in that octagon. Not a judge's decision. We all know judges' decisions can be rigged, and there's a lot of corruption in this sport. So, if he wins a couple fights and after I finish with Marty Snoozman, then I would welcome that challenge.
After the fight, were you told unequivocally by the UFC brass, anyone who works for the UFC at an executive level, that you, in fact, no matter what, will be next in line for Kamaru Usman, that you guys will fight each other to unify those titles? Was that said to you?
Dana White came over to me in the middle of the fourth round, and he let me know, hey, Colby, you're going to be next. We're going to bring you backstage to do some media, and you're going to get your shot. And, I just thanked him. I was glad that we had that man-to-man talk in the Palms the other night at the blackjack table, and we settled our differences, and business is good. Now, I thank him for the opportunity.
Okay. Why didn't they bring you in the cage, by the way, to do the face-off? That would have been a cool moment.
Asking him, Dana came up to me in the first round. I was like, man, let me get in that octagon, man. I want to see them face to face, eye to eye, like a man. And he just said it would have been too much of a security liability. Definitely, tempers were flaring and emotions are high right now. So, he didn't want anything bad to happen. Something would have definitely went down. It would have been a Khabib Conor melee all over again. And I'm the people's champion. I don't want to put the people in danger.
Do you believe him? Do you actually believe you'll fight Usman next for the belt?
I can't say if I really truly believe him, because I've been said this before, so, just like he said in his last interviews that, nothing's guaranteed in life. So, I'm just going to keep working hard, doing what I do, man, showing up places, creating chaos. Chaos is unpredictable. You don't know what I'm going to do next. And let me tell you one thing, you haven't seen the best of me yet, Ariel. I'm just getting started. I got so many tricks up my sleeves.
And so what happened backstage with Ben Askren? Because I understand you two exchanged words. I asked him about that, but I wanted to get your side of the story.
There wasn't really much to it, I'm waiting for interviews. He said, hey, why don't you call me out, Colby? Why don't you ask the UFC for me? I said, no problem, Ben. Just get a win in the UFC. He said, I just got a win in the UFC, Colby. I said, Ben, not one that the refs give you.
You didn't think that was a legit win? You weren't impressed with that?
Significant strikes. He was about to be unconscious, knocked out. The ref let him stay in there. And then all of a sudden, the ref gave it to him when he didn't even have a choke around the neck. It was around the ear, man. Lawler was completely coherent in the fight. And, Ben Askren was pretty much unconscious on wobbly legs, gassed out, man. He was going to get knocked out unconscious if the ref didn't save him.
As you know, Colby, Ali Abdelaziz, who's Usman's manager, is pretty influential in the UFC these days. He tweeted yesterday, Usman versus Askren. Is there a part of you that's worried that they're going to take the fight away from you after what happened on Sunday?
I'm not worried at all, man. I didn't do anything wrong. That terrorist rat should get deported back to whatever country he snitched on. He shouldn't even be allowed in this country for all the shit he does, man. He's over there trying to take swings at professional fighters. You know what else he told me, Ariel? He told me he's going to track me down. He's going to shoot me and kill me. What do you think about that?
When? Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday at the buffet.
He said that to you?
He said that to me. I swear to God on my life, I would not lie to you, Ariel. You're my man. I got nothing but love for you. I always keep it honest with you. He told me he was going to shoot me and kill me, and I have witnesses that heard him say that.
Wow. So obviously it's very personal between everyone now. Hopefully we'll get to see that fight. I want to ask you about what happened on Thursday, because the consensus on Friday seemed to be that, wow, Colby went too far when he tracked down Dana White at the Palms, and you filmed him on your IG Live. Why did you take that video down after you filmed it? It seemed like everyone thought that maybe now you were seriously going to be reprimanded for what you did, for putting him on the spot like that.
the biggest thing about this all, Ariel, we talked before. All I wanted was a man to man with Dana White.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to explain to me why I wasn't fighting this weekend. I was healthy to fight this weekend. Why did I get passed up for somebody that's behind me in the rankings? It made no sense. So, he gave me some clarity. He said, you can't turn down fights. I said, Dana, I've never turned down a fight that your UFC doctors didn't tell me I couldn't fight in. I've accepted every fight I've taken. I'm always a company man ready to fight. So, I got a man-to-man with him. I took down the video because, I got what I wanted. I was filming, and then I heard that in the Palms you're not allowed to film. So I turned off the film. I deleted the film, and I got what I wanted. Mission accomplished. All I wanted was a face-to-face with Dana White. I wanted to explain where I'm coming from and get on the same page. And now we're on the same page. We're not going to be friends. We're not meant to be friends. We're meant to do business, and that's what this is all about.
Wow. Yeah. So it seemed like he listened to you, that you got what you wanted. Was the discussion, was it contentious at all, or was he open to hearing you out?
Very open, Ariel. He understood where I was coming from, and he heard me out. I let him know what's going on, what I'm doing, and what my vision is. So he understood that, and he realizes that I'm going to be, a superstar in this company in no time. And I think I stole all the headlines this weekend, and I didn't even throw a punch. I may have ducked a couple punches from Ali, but I didn't even throw a punch this weekend. I stole all the headlines, but thanks to my cat-like reflexes.
And so do you think that you'd be in this position, Colby, this position of, now fighting Usman, and it seems very like they came up to all that. If you didn't come to Vegas, do you feel like you had to come and make this noise, create this chaos, as you said, in order to reassert yourself atop those rankings?
No, I don't think I had to, but you know what? I had a burden on my shoulder, Ariel. You did the poll. You did the largest poll in ESPN history on your platform, and 80% of the fans wanted me out here. So, I took that burden on my shoulder to come out here for the people, man. I had to defend this people's title, America's title. I had to bring some electricity and some energy to this week, man. No one even knew about UFC 235 if it wasn't for me this week. So, I owe it not only to the people, but to the UFC, man, to give them a real show, man. Low energy Marty, he's boring, man. No one wants to see that shit.
You are being criticized by some of your fellow fighters for being caught on camera calling someone after the fracas at the Palms. Who are you calling?
Chicks, man. I was supposed to meet up with them at the buffet. So, I let them know, hey, baby, I'm going to be a little late, but don't worry. We're going to get this mess sorted out. And you're not going to be in harm or dangerous way. And we'll meet up and we'll get some cardio in the bedroom. I got to get ready for this title fight. So, I got porn star cardio, Ariel, and, it's time to start getting ready in training camp. And there's no better way to get ready for training camp than get some porn star cardio in the bedroom.
Perfect world. When would you like this fight to happen? When do you think it's going to happen?
Perfect world. July International Fight Week. Las Vegas is the fight capital of the world. So what better way to unify my title and to end all the hype around Snoozman than July and Fight Week? But, if it has to be June in Chicago, that sounds great to me too. I know Snoozman's already making excuses about having injuries, but we all saw yesterday on TMZ that he's mighty fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's completely healthy. So we can run this in June or July. The sooner the better. I'm ready to knock this fucker out.
What do you think the chances are of the president attending your fight? You said that you're his favorite fighter. You have this connection with him now. Will you extend the invitation, and do you think he'll actually come?
Yeah, I talked to the president, Mr. Donald Trump, in the Oval Office. It's too big of a security issue for him to come to a fight. He obviously has a lot of haters out there, and he has a lot going on in his life. But I guarantee that Donald Trump Jr. will be at the fight, and I'll extend the invitation to the whole Trump family. I would love to have them out there. And it's going to be a spectacle, man. I'm here to make welterweight great again, and what better way to unify this title and bring in the Trump family?
What a week for you, Colby. Wow. You proud of yourself? You happy with your work?
I had a great week. I'm thankful for Dan Lambert, for providing Champ Force One so I could get out to Las Vegas on his private jet and back safely and get ready for training camp, man. You guys are about to see me take over the whole game, and you're coming for the ride with me, Ariel.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Colby. Stay safe out there, okay? Don't get in any more trouble.
I can't guarantee anything before I leave back to Florida. I might end up in a Las Vegas jail system.
Okay, hopefully not. Thank you, Colby. Good luck to you. Appreciate the time.
Later.
There he is, Colby Covington, perhaps the most hated man in MMA. You saw the footage, got into the fracas at the Palms yesterday. Hopefully that doesn't affect the fight being made. That certainly does appear to be the fight to make. And you'll recall last year in Brooklyn, prior to UFC 223, at the press conference, the one that had DC there and other big names, it was Usman and Colby who stole the show, and they weren't even scheduled to fight. So you can go all the way back to a year to where there's an issue between these two. The buildup should be great. It should be heated. It should be personal. It should definitely be one of the more anticipated fights of 2019, and International Fight Week would obviously be a nice showcase. He mentions June in Chicago. That's where he beat RDA, and that's where he won that interim title. That would be interesting as well, but perhaps a bit of a quick turnaround for Usman, who I did see getting rolled around in that wheelchair on Saturday night. Okay, so that's Covington, that's Askren. Let's talk about one of the other big stars who fought on Saturday, UFC 235, Las Vegas, Nevada. We were all wondering how Johnny Walker would look after taking a fight on just a couple of weeks' notice and fighting perhaps his toughest test yet, Misha Cirkunov. Well, all he needed once again was just a couple of seconds. This man is a phenom. This man is taking the UFC by storm. He's taking the light heavyweight division by storm. Just a couple of weeks ago, he needed 15 seconds to KO Justin Ledet. On Saturday, a little longer, 36 seconds. Had the memorable celebration afterwards. We'll check in now with the man they call Johnny Walker to see how he's doing. Here he is joining us via the magic of Skype. Johnny, how are you?
I'm okay, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Wow, what a great Skype connection that is. I really appreciate you joining us. First things first, most important, how are you feeling? How is your shoulder?
My shoulder is okay. I can move. I can move my arm, but I feel a bit pain. I have to check. I go to the hospital in a few hours to make some exams to see what happened.
Did you go to the hospital after the fight, or is this your first trip?
No, I have to go. I don't go. I
Okay.
don't have been in the hospital yet.
So could you tell us what you felt when you were celebrating? What did you feel in your shoulder?
Yeah, the first step when I start the warm celebration, I feel my shoulder dislocated. Then I let go the weight in my face. I support my weight in my face and swap to not feel more damage in my shoulder.
Did
And
it
it's so
hurt?
crazy. Hurt
A
a
lot.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
You hit it well though. You played it off very nicely. You're a good actor.
Ah, thank you.
Have you ever hurt that shoulder before?
No, first time.
Wow. Have you dislocated either shoulder at any point in your life?
No, my shoulder is okay, 100%. It's still okay, but a little bit pain. I
Yeah.
have to make some treatment, like physiotherapy or something.
Sure. And so in your mind, when you understand that you've hurt yourself, but you're celebrating, so it's not in the fight, what is going through your mind? Are you thinking, oh my God, this is embarrassing, this is a nightmare? What are you thinking as you realize that your shoulder is hurt?
Yeah, I feel like an idiot. Uh, y- I can come back the time, but if I can't, I don't do this again, and I have to hold myself to make a celebration more safe for me.
Yeah. Are you not going to celebrate like that ever again?
Maybe I have to train my celebration, because I never trained this. I trained backflips and other things, but the worms is the first time. Second time I tried, but without training. Then
Right.
I hurt myself.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So maybe just take it easy. Now, what about the fight itself? You must be thrilled. Again, less than a minute for you, 36 seconds, another knockout. Did you expect that you'd be able to finish this opponent? A lot of people were saying it was your toughest opponent to date that quickly.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with me because I finished fight so quickly. I wanna test myself. I wanna fight 3 rounds. I wait for this guy try put me down, try like make more the fight hard for me. but yeah, finish so quickly. I don't like. I need one like proper fight. One fight more like 3 rounds. I want to see how my def defense, my techniques for defense takedown, how it's going. I have to check how I'll feel like after 1, 2 rounds, the last round. I want to feel how it's going, my cardio, my resistance. I need to test myself if I'm really ready for the title. One day.
So you actually want the fights to go longer? Like, is there a part of you that's disappointed when they end so quickly?
Yeah, of course. I want to fight 3 rounds. I need to test myself. This is so new for me. I trained for like 5 years. Like no, I started my career 5 years ago. I still learn every day, and I need to test. Because I don't know if you can defense, if you're not. I train. I know the techniques, but I have to put in practice.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you're winning these fights in the most amazing way possible. You've now won 3 Performance of the Night bonuses, but I get the sense that there's a part of you that wishes the fight went, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, just so that you can test yourself and find out more about yourself. I've never heard that from someone before. Usually people are very happy. Quick fight, I get to go home, I get paid, I get a bonus. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself as well. I know everything is happening like good. I'm happy, but I need more. I don't feel like satisfaction. I feel I need more. Then I want to fight soon again, maybe next month or something like this.
You think your shoulder will be okay for next month?
I don't need one shoulder to fight. I can fight without one shoulder.
So maybe in Rio, do you like the idea of fighting in Rio, or do you like
Yeah.
fighting in the United States now?
Anywhere, anytime, my friend. When I'm
Okay.
ready, I only need to check my shoulder. If my shoulder's okay, I can fight. I don't want to let some opportunity to somebody beat me. I want to be 100%
Sure.
to show 100% Johnny Walker.
Right. You had fought on the Contender Series in Las Vegas, but this was your first time fighting, T-Mobile, big Las Vegas event, pay-per-view event. Did you like the experience? Was it fun for you?
Of course, I like, man. I before I go to UFC, I never think about one day I go to Vegas. Like, and now I'm here. It's like a dream. I'm so proud.
Yeah, you should be proud. It's unbelievable. Are you starting to get more attention? Are you getting those sponsors? I know you were frustrated about the respect and attention back home. Are more people starting to call you, to pay attention to you?
Yeah, of course. I think now people can see me. You can see me now.
I can see you now. Yes, like John Cena once said, right? Have you secured any sponsors yet? Do you have anyone who's backing you?
I think somebody contact my coach and my manager. I think something is gonna be happening.
Good. It's about time. And by the way, I loved what you wore at the media day with the bow tie and the suspenders. Well done.
Oh, thank you. I will try
Yeah.
dress something better the next time.
No, it's unbelievable. Everything you're doing is on point. I want to ask you, did you get a chance to watch the main event, John Jones and Anthony Smith?
Yeah, I watched.
Yeah, what did you think of John Jones's performance?
Uh, I think he's a great fight, like, but he needs a proper fight like me. I'm sure I can give him a proper fight. If you give one fight like warm, he will fight warm. If you give him one big fight, one hard fight and hot fight, then John Jones can show more as well. Then I'm sure when I fight against him, you will see the great fight.
Do you feel like you are ready for a John Jones now? Like if they did in fact call you to fight him, or would you like to get maybe 1 or 2 of those fights, as you talked about, longer to get, to learn more about yourself, go into the third round, things like that before you fight someone quite like him?
Of course, I'm ready for John Jones, but I want to be more ready than this.
Okay.
I need more experience. I need more fights. Have more people in my front of me. Like deserve this than me, like Marreta or other guys. I'll take my time. I'll wait, no problem. But I'm ready for him. But I need more 4 fights, 3, 5, more fights than possible,
Okay.
and I will be more ready for him.
Do you think John Jones is as good as he once was? he went the distance with Anthony Smith. A lot of people didn't think that he would go the distance, that he would finish the fight in the first or second round. Like, do you feel like this is kind of the best time to fight him, that he's not as invincible as he once was?
Um moment. Como é que é?
Você acha que ele não é mais invencível como ele já foi?
Yeah, I think the new generation coming, and his time is gonna be like his time is como é que fala que o tempo dele tá acabando?
His time is over.
Yeah, his time is gonna be over, because the old's coming,
Yeah.
and the new is have a little bit more stronger, more, the time is different.
Sure.
But I think he can give me a good fight.
You have any problem fighting, like, let's say Thiago Santos wins the belt, do you have a problem fighting a fellow Brazilian?
No
No problem.
No problem.
You're just doing your thing. You're just a happy man. I can't believe that
I
you
wanna.
were... Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to fight, my friend. I wanna give me one fight and send me the location. I need dates to train.
Sure.
I want to come back to train, my diet, everything. I'm so excited.
I can't believe that you were smiling on the way out. You couldn't move your arm. You're still smiling. I was wondering, okay, now finally we're going to see Johnny Walker upset. We're going to see him frowning. But you were still smiling. You were still happy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, of course. If I broke my arm or my leg, I was still happy. I do what I love, and I know I can do more this. And I only need a little bit time to rest and recover, and I'm ready again to do what I love.
Okay. Do you think, so what do you think it's going to say when you go to the doctor? Like, do you have a feeling? Do you think dislocated? What do you think? Or just sore? What is your expectation?
Dislocated.
Okay.
I feel my muscles like dislocated. My bone take off the place.
Wow.
But I don't know how he come back alone. I feel like little stretch, like tack, and come back, Yeah, I only need physiotherapy and check how's the bed and keep going.
Did someone put it back in place backstage, or did it just go back in place by
Go
itself?
back alone.
Wow.
I don't know how.
That's amazing. Well, that's the only negative thing that we could say about what happened to you on Saturday. What a performance again.
No,
man.
nothing is negative. This show me I have to take care of my celebration.
Sure. You're going to practice.
Everything is coming to teach me something,
That's right.
The life is a big school.
A lesson, right? So now you know
Yeah,
the
it's a
worm.
lesson.
Maybe we need to practice the worm a little bit.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Johnny, congratulations. Parabéns to you. I hope that the doctor visit goes okay and it's not too serious. And it's amazing what you've done in a short amount of time. Enjoy it. And thank you again for coming on the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. God bless you. Take care.
All right. Same to you. Wow. What a great guy that Johnny Walker is. Always smiling, always happy. I was seriously wondering and, curious as to whether or not he would be in pain as he left. Nope. He wasn't frowning. He wasn't upset. Hid the pain. Probably was in pain, but didn't show it to the world. Still smiling with that big smile, that infectious smile. What a great character. And it's amazing to see what he's done thus far in his UFC career. Again, a second straight, less than 60-second victory, third straight performance bonus. All right, let's move along. On Friday, the UFC held a press conference in Las Vegas to promote UFC 236. It goes down April 13th in Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta. And the main event, of course, is Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight title, rematch of a fight that happened at UFC 143 7 years ago. Now we are being joined by the great Max Holloway, the reigning defending UFC featherweight champion, kind enough to give us some time on the phone. Max, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? You sound a little bit stuffy. You sick, bro?
Man, I am sick. Yeah, I'm trying to power
Get
through
better.
like you. I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you, Max. Thank you for doing this, and good to see you out there in Las Vegas. So this fight is one that I think a lot of people are excited about, and I'm just wondering from your perspective, did this catch you off guard? Even the Ferguson stuff, they were trying to put you in a lightweight title fight. Did you think that your next fight would be at lightweight, or is this a little surprising that you're not fighting at 145 in your next fight?
The UFC, they're gonna do what they want to do. I had no idea. I woke up I woke up one day and there's a talk about me and Tony, and next thing I know, my manager is hitting me up and was figuring out that the Tony talks are serious, I got an email saying, like I said, check my check. I got a text check saying check my email, and it had Dustin's name on a contract. So it was a bunch of wild stuff. But it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't wild. You got to enjoy the ride, and I'm just happy I have this opportunity.
Were you given a reason, or do you know the reason why Tony Ferguson isn't fighting you on April 13th?
I don't know. I don't know. After my last fight with Ortega, like I said, he tweeted me. He tweeted me and said if Khabib wasn't ready to go, he'd love to run it. And that's come. I was excited. I was like, oh, that's cool. When I heard all these talks, I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then I heard that he turned down the fight, but at the end of the day, Tony Ferguson is the type of dude to win 10 interim titles, and then he melted down and make one big ultimate title. That guy works hard for everything he ever wanted. In the UFC, he deserved everything he ever wanted. He still takes picture with his belt and stuff, and deservingly so, I believe. I think that's what he should do. He worked hard for that. But at the end of the day, I don't know what it is. To people saying that he's ducking fights and stuff, that kind of blows my mind. That guy always showed up. He always fight. He had some bad injuries. We don't know what personally and behind the scenes. We don't know what. It could be a family issue. Could be an injury issue. We don't know. He tweeted too after the fight that he took some unnecessary damage in his last fight or whatever. So we don't know. I got nothing but prayers for the guy. I hope he'd be back. We hope we solve some stuff out, and after April 13th, we can talk more. We see what's on the table. He's one of the guys, like I said, he's one of the best guys in the world. I think he's the best guys in the world. We're almost on the same win streak in the UFC, so I'd love to compete against the guy.
Yeah, and I've tried to reach out to him as well and get him on the show, but right now they said he's not talking. So I agree with you. It'd be nice to hear his side of the story before we blast the guy for not taking this fight. Is there a part of you, Max, considering the history with Dustin, that got really excited about running this one back? You came in there as such a young kid, your debut, short notice. He beat you, he finished you. Does this excite you? Forget about the title, but just the fact that you're able to show the world just how much better you are from 7 years ago, is that like the most intriguing part of the fight for you in many respects?
It's just that's always good. Getting one back. I got an L on my record from the man. So it's not even an L. It's a learning session. So I learned a lot after that fight, and I can't wait to do it. It's not even only that. It's what he did in that amount of time. How much former champions he beat, the streak he's on, and wanted to stack his division. So I'm excited to compete against him again. Me and him know that what happened 7 years or 7 years. And we had that 7-year long stare off on Friday, like you said. So it's fun. I can't wait to step in the octagon with that guy. He's one of the best in the world right now, and everybody believes it. So. And he had some great wins over some great champions, so former champions. So I can't wait to step in there with him.
So we have had some double champions in the UFC now. We have Amanda Nunes, and we had Daniel Cormier, Conor McGregor, of course. You win this belt on April 13th. Will you feel like a double champion, or because it's interim, will it not feel the same?
I'll be the first champ, I guess. Yes. I guess that's what you hashtag. But it is what it is. Like I said, I'm just all joking aside. Rush don't even know how much belts I got. I put it in the closet. Those bad boys can come on after I'm done fighting. Right now we gotta go. So whatever people want to call me, they can call me. This is just another fight. Like I said, it's simple. I ask UFC for the toughest fight, and then they send contracts, and I send them back. So this is one more tough fight on the in the record books, and I can't wait to prove to the world why I'm one of the best.
What are the chances of you staying at 155, saying this is a great weight cut? I don't want to kill myself anymore going down to 145. I love it up here. Is there a possibility that happens?
We see after April 13th. Like I said, I told you guys I'm a defending reigning champion, and when someone leave their throne on hiatus, that's when people try to come in. So there's a lot of contenders down there, and we see what happens. Like I said, Frankie and Jose, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve a champ that's going to be out for a year or so or whatever. And we got more contenders coming up. So after April 13th, I'll figure it out for sure. But, I would love to be the first guy to be defending both belts simultaneously. That's one of my goals, and that would prove that I'll be the best in the world if I'm able to do that.
Yeah, Frankie and his team, I should say, seem a little upset that they're not fighting you next. Was that ever discussed? Was that ever brought to you?
that I don't know what was brought up to our side or whatever, but the only talks I had was Tony, and then like I said, we got the email saying it was Dustin, so it's quite confusing, you know how names get thrown around and this and that, but the names that only got to me and my team was Tony, so that's all we went from.
Now, Max, I have to say, I'm so impressed with you as a champion, as a fighter, how much you've grown. But in the past few months, your social media game, what is going on? What is the secret behind this? I mean, every tweet is just a smashing success. It's always on point. The Instagram, the photos, the Mark Hunt one was great. The Tony Ferguson. Where is this coming? You were always good, but if I'm being honest, you've reached like GOAT-like status on social media these days, and I don't know where it's coming from. Can you tell me? Can you enlighten me?
Like we said, these guys, they only know you when you're talked about, and when you fight. So, I gotta keep reminding people, like, look, I'm not fighting, but you guys still gotta come true with regular stuff. We come up with original stuff. I don't want to be a guy reposting stuff, whatever. I want to be a guy that comes up with an original thing and original content. That's what we're doing. I sat down with my team. We wanted to attack this a different way, and we're doing it. And I think we're doing a pretty good job, like you said.
Pretty good. Holy moly, you are killing it. And as you know, I have been bothering you for well over a month to come on this program because and I gave you glowing praise about this on all platforms, but now I get a chance to ask you about it. So in late January, you traveled to Dublin and you were putting out some of the finest social media that I've ever seen. And it seemed as though you were trying to bait Conor McGregor, from being as blunt as possible, into a fight. We're looking at you now at the Jameson Distillery. You went to Croke Park. You were all over the place. Can you tell me why you went to Dublin? Was it solely for these photos to bait the man? Tell us the story here. I haven't heard you talk about it. Please enlighten me.
We also went to the Cliff of Moher. It's a beautiful place, man. That city is beautiful, and like you said, I'm competitor. Me and the guys, the competitors. We're gonna be taking jabs at each other forever and ever. I think, as long as we in this game, and who knows, Connor's the type of dude. He might show up. He might show up in Hawaii one day. He might be in Hawaii right now. He might take a picture of him on the beach or something. So it is what it is. We jab back and forth, and and things happen. It's just fun, all fun and games. It's good to jab back and forth like that.
Did you see Conor? Did you run into him? Did you talk to him while you were in Dublin?
I did not see or run into him, or talk to him at all. When we was up there, we did our thing. We was enjoying a bunch of places. Every place we went, they took good care of me. They told me the history about it, and it was very intriguing being up there. Hopefully one day I get to fight over there. Croke Park is huge. I didn't learn that Croke Park, they did they fill up that stadium with amateurs. They do this amateur sport where it's like cities versus cities and towns versus towns, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of amazing the stories that you hear over there.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you were on the streets of Dublin, once it started to get out there, what were people saying to you? He has a lot of passionate, loyal fans. Did you feel the warm welcome? Were you getting heckled? What was it like for you?
I was getting nothing but love, to be honest. And people started figuring out, there's like, oh man, they wanted to see me fight Conor, and I said, yeah, why not fight him here, and they was all for it, So the fans over there, they're nice fans, they treat me very well.
Okay. What about that line? Not a watered down trend. I mean, really, what the subtle shots were just on a whole other level. You're now involved in the whiskey war here. It's crazy.
Yeah, right now we're not here to talk about endorsements. Let's not talk about endorsements.
I'm sorry.
On the show.
Are you being sponsored by them, or is Jameson on board, the Blessed Express?
Hey, everything you move, we like real G's move in silence like lasagna. So I keep you guys waiting on that one.
Okay, fair enough. Are you disappointed you didn't get the Conor fight? Are you disappointed that he didn't even respond to you? I haven't seen him actually publicly. I've seen him tweet a lot lately, but he didn't address you. Are you disappointed?
No, at the end of the day, the famous line, it is what it is. we got a tough fight with us in Dustin Poirier, and that's my full focus now. We got 6 weeks. Like I said, after April 13th, we can hash out a lot of things with the UFC and figure out what's next.
Okay, you're going to say maybe get a new contract after this one, right? Because you had one a couple of fights ago.
Yeah, maybe. We see. We don't know. I don't know what's going on. After this fight, I'm just happy I'm here. I have this opportunity, and I can't wait to show. This is one of those fights that I get to go out there and show the world, and be like, look, I'm one of the best guys in the world, and I'm gonna keep on doing it. I told your man Brett, I was like, look, when it's all said and done, when my fighting career is done, when people look at my record in the history books, and they see my record and they see these guys that I beat, I want to be like, oh, he beat this guy. He beat this guy. I want a lot of woes and a lot of, did he beat this guy? Kind of thing. So that's what I'm striving for.
And also nice that they're sending you to a warm location this time for a fight. I mean, I know it's April, but Atlanta in April sounds a little better than Toronto in December. I know you got love for the T dot, but this has got to be nice.
Yeah, it gotta be nice. I got nothing but love for the 10th Island, you know that. And it's great to be in Atlanta. They still sending me East Coast. We're making our
Right.
way back down to the West Coast though, so I'm excited, man. I can't wait. Anywhere we fight, it is what it is. They're gonna put us where they want to put us, but I'm just excited for the opportunity, like I said.
Any more movement on that front, the Hawaii front? Anything to share?
Uh you best believe if your boy walk away with a W on this one, I'm gonna start screaming UFC Hawaii. I'm gonna make shirts. I'm gonna send it to you guys so you guys can use it at ESPN. I'm gonna do something because we need this fight to happen. We need a UFC Hawaii. I gotta come home, UFC. Come on, Dana.
Yeah. And by the way, Max, last fight you were very open about the stuff that you talked about, personal problems, depression, things like that. How is life now? You got the win under your belt. You moved on. Are you feeling better? Does that stuff creep up? I know the most successful people in the world deal with things like that. How are you doing now?
I feel great. I feel good. The fight and stuff helped. Coming out with it and talking and helping. We got a bunch of fans and people just reaching out to me and talking. That helped a lot. I feel way better. I'm in a way better place. I heard my man Jeremy was talked about it a little bit. I'm glad that he found some help and he figured it out. God bless him and his family. Without long story short, nobody wouldn't really know, but I kind of got picked up by the UFC and my management because of Jeremy. He's a great dude, great family man, and I'm great. I'm doing good. I'm happy he's doing good. I saw you talk about it, and it's just amazing.
What is that story about Jeremy? I have never heard that one before.
The first thing that I got, that the whole Dustin Poirier thing came to tuition because of Jeremy. I lived in Germany for 6 weeks, and he was getting ready for what's his name, Anthony Pettis. They flew me in to mimic Anthony Pettis, so it was funny. I came full circle, but yeah, he flew me in. I lived with him for 6 weeks when I was only a 4-0 pro. He did this YouTube videos weekly all the time, and then that's how I got found by my management, and then after that I got found. After that I got to UFC. So I was always thankful for that guy and always grateful for him. And him and his family was always in my prayers. And when I heard something tough like that, it's kind of crazy. But I'm glad he pushed through it. I'm glad his coach helped him, and it's good to hear. Great stories.
Yeah, and it's probably something that's a lot more common than we may think in the fight game, right? Going through emotions like that after a tough loss.
Oh yeah, for sure. These anything in life, especially these fights, and then now you add social media, you add people who think so they know how to do stuff and whatever. It's a very hard time to be a professional athlete, period, at any level, or even being a regular person at any level. Social media is wild. A lot of people think so they gotta do stuff on their own. You don't have to. This we work better in teams. Yeah, you like being alone here and there, but remember, people's always there to help you.
And Max, you seem to have genuine love and respect for Jose Aldo, despite the two fights. I thought it was really nice when you tweeted about him after his last victory. Where does that admiration come from?
The dude is the king of Rio, man. The watching him fight growing up when I was 16, he was the guy I inspired to be. He was the first kick Muay Thai fighter doing it and beating everybody else was wrestlers or grapplers. He was like the first striker to actually be doing these things. I know he had a jiu-jitsu background, but he was like that first sprawl and brawl guy that I respected, and he used kick, elbows, knees, everything. So when I was 16, like I said, it wasn't a joke. He was my favorite fighter. Dude still is my favorite fighter. He's the man. I love him. I love his team. I love the way they're all loyal to each other. I love everything, the way the guy moves. So I got nothing but respect for the guy. At the end of the day, if we gotta fight a third time, we gotta fight a third time. It is what it is. But I'm always gonna have love and respect for that dude. He inspired me in a lot of ways.
Last thing for you, Max. You posted a really nice thing, I thought, when George St. Pierre retired. And it's crazy how it all comes. I don't know if you were trying to tip us off that you were going to fight Poirier, but you apparently met George St. Pierre at
My
that.
boy, no, I did it. No, that was just funny. That's when I met. That's the first time I met George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva was on that day.
Wow.
They was doing media or something, so I took a picture, and he was one of the great, he was one of the greats too. Like I said, everybody thought so. I named Rush after him, but I didn't, but like I said in there, I look up and I like the way he moved too and stuff, but he do his business and his personal life and so on and so on. So, he affects Rush in many ways too, but I didn't get the name from him. But yeah, that's the first time I've met him at UFC 143. They was in Vegas. They was doing media and stuff. I met him and Anderson, so it was pretty crazy to meet him. Like my first day, I get to see all these superstars. So it was cool.
Was that after you lost or before?
Was before. It was the week. All the media week
Okay.
leading up to it.
Do you remember? Do you remember even asking them for any advice or anything like that, or were you just kind of starstruck? You were so young.
I talked to George St. Pierre a little bit. I remember asking him, "Oh, how is it? It's cool." And then I remember him just telling me, "Just stay calm." And I asked him, "Oh, what would you say to someone making the debut?" And he just told me to just stay calm, stay focused, and you know what you train, so just go out there and show people. So that's what stuck with me for a while.
Another great social media post by you. I don't know if you have a ghostwriter or something, Max, but holy moly, you are just killing it on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not being paid to say that, but it's like every single post is just more perfect than the next. It's amazing. It really is.
Thank you, boss.
You are blessing us all. Max, great stuff. And great outfit, by the way, on Fridays. I think both of you, I think you really showed up the other guys as far as the outfits were concerned. It was a nice looking stare down, if I may say so. I'm looking forward to seeing you back out there in Atlanta on April 13th. Thank you for doing this, Max. I really appreciate it.
You the man, Errol. Get better, man. Go drink some tea and some honey.
Thank
Get
you.
better.
Thank you, Max.
Hello.
All the best to you. There he is.
All the best.
Mahalo to Max Holloway, the featherweight champion of the UFC. What a great post that was from him. I can read it here because I thought his words were really nice. He had a post, when was it? February 22nd. Him and George St. Pierre. This was my first UFC fight. It was against Dustin Poirier. My career started by being finished. Becoming champion was not easy for me, but the instructions were clear. I had to just keep beating the guy in front of me. After 10 wins in a row, I got my title shot. But when I became champion, there were no instructions on what to do next. I had to figure out what it meant to me, how to represent my team and my community, how to express my values as a martial artist, how to be a good father to my son while trying to entertain fans. I'm still figuring it out every day, but I look to GSP to create a blueprint for myself on the martial artist I would be. Many people think I named my son Rush after GSP. I didn't, but Rush watches everything I do, so GSP's influence is there every day. Thank you, GSP, from me and Rush, with the Canadian flag emoji, and he posted that on his Instagram back on February 22nd. I do believe that was the day that George St. Pierre officially announced his retirement. So that was class stuff from Max Holloway. That's going to be the main event on April 13th, the next UFC pay-per-view. And then, of course, UFC 236 will also be co-headlined by Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya. Not to knock those guys, because I thought Gastelum looked good as well. And I really liked the shorts from one Israel Adesanya that he was rocking on Friday. Ooh, look at this. We have a nice little full screen with the official music, too. Wow, Corporate Jake really upping his game. There's the lineup. April 13th, State Farm Arena. In fact, last time UFC was there was when Tyron Woodley became welterweight champion. Other fights of note, Eric Anders against Khalil Roundtree. That's at light heavyweight. Flyweight bout between Wilson Hayes and Alexandre Pantoja. Yes, the flyweights are still around. Montel Jackson against Andre Sukumtat as well. UFC announced a bunch of dates over the weekend. They're going to Stockholm on June 1st. They're going to Greenville, South Carolina. They're going to Rochester on May 18th. And I reported, I think it was last week, that they were talking to Kevin Lee about fighting Gregor Gillespie. It would make all the sense in the world, in my opinion, to have the Gregor Gillespie fight in Rochester. He is from upstate New York, so I would circle that date as a potential for that fight. But yeah, they essentially laid out the entire first first half of the year up until International Fight Week. And interesting to note that there's no Friday event because there's no Ultimate Fighter going down in the first half. They still continue to talk about perhaps doing it online or on a different platform. But usually International Fight Week has had the Friday-Saturday thing. This time it doesn't appear as though there is the Friday event. So we were supposed to have Al Iaquinta on right now, but unfortunately I was told that he has some personal matters to attend to, so unfortunately no Al Iaquinta this week. Always gracious, always great with his time. Certainly don't think it's anything personal, but when he tells me that he has something that he needs to do, I believe it, and I will not fight it. So we'll be joined by Al Iaquinta at a later date. Curious to hear where he fits into the lightweight picture, of course, because at the press conference on Friday, Dana White said that it seemed like they were going to move away from the Cerrone-McGregor fight, and we're talking about Cerrone versus Iaquinta, although I did reach out to Iaquinta moments later that afternoon. He told me no one had approached him about that fight. Now, I don't think that he would be against it, but no one had approached him, so it doesn't seem like that's really far in the negotiations. Cerrone doesn't seem like the type to care about this sort of thing, although he does really seem adamant. I mean, in all my years of covering Donald Cerrone, and can I just say one more time, like for a final time, like these people online are trying to create some issue between Cerrone and I, and he may not like me anymore. He may be mad at me, and that's his prerogative. Certainly, it's not newsworthy for me. This is par for the course. But I just want to say that I have no issues with this man. I have the utmost respect. If you go back and listen to what I said one last time, I was giving him props. I was saying, you are the winningest fighter in UFC history. You call the shots. You're the man. I've always been told, fake it like you make it, right? Or until you make it, something like that. You know, you walk in there with your chest puffed out. You walk in there acting like the man. Do that sort of thing. You call the shots. You set the tone. You set the rules. So that's all I was trying to say. Everyone trying to be, oh, you and Donald Cerrone, relax. It's so funny. I get labeled as the instigator. All of you are the instigators. You're all the troublemakers, not me. I'm just a peaceful guy hanging back trying to do my thing. You're all the ones who are making all the trouble. That's right. I said it. How about Vitor Belfort signing with ONE last week? I was at the media event Thursday night at Extreme Couture. It was great to be back at Extreme Couture. I have not been there in quite some time. Maybe like 10 years. I remember one time doing an interview with Forrest Griffin there, and he kept, actually that interview was what sort of changed my career forever. I went to Extreme Couture. I was there for UFC 98, and this is my Happy Warrior fan because I'm a little under the weather, so I'd like to fan myself off. UFC 98, I was there, and that's when I was not credentialed to UFC events, so I would go to the location, but I wouldn't go to the actual event, but I would take the trip as an opportunity to go to local gyms. So I went to Extreme Couture. I would hang out there for hours. I would interview all the fighters, and I interviewed Forrest Griffin, who at that point, was he gonna fight? No, he had already fought. Yeah, he had already been champion, lost the belt. Anyway, he was obviously a big deal in the sport. He's a big name. And he kept like touching my shoulder, and he kept like pushing me and nudging me. And I remember the interview was posted on MMAmania.com, and I remember reading the comments after it was posted, and I was just completely roasted. I mean, I was killed. I was murdered by the comments, calling me awkward, calling me, the worst. So, I mean, like, what is it? 2011 maybe? No, 2008, 2009, something like that. 10 or so years later, it's all the same. But I was just killed. And I remember feeling so down that day. That was the first time that I really got killed. I was kind of new to the whole video interviewing thing. And it was that interview that kind of changed everything for me. Because I read the comments. I said to myself, I can't put that much stock into these comments anymore. This is going to crumble me. I mean, I am going to be a shell of myself if I continue to read this. It really messes with your mind. And it was that day that I went to do the media day at the Elite XC event in New York City. And that's when I saw Gina Carano, and she kind of made a joke about how awkward I was. And that's when I decided, you know what? I'm going to stop listening to everyone, and I'm just going to be me. Maybe I'm trying a little too hard here. And that interview is online. That's why I've always, held Gina in high regard because I think she kind of made me realize that you don't have to try so hard. Just be yourself. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, well, the hell with them. So anyway, being back at Extreme Couture kind of brought back those memories. It was cool to be at a one championship event. I'd never been to a one championship event of any kind. They had Eddie Alvarez there, Demetrius Johnson, Rich Franklin, Misha Tate. They also had Vitor Belfort there. Sage was supposed to be there, Sage Northcutt, but he wasn't. Anyway, they announced Vitor. He talked about signing. He talked about wanting to fight Roy Jones in a sort of dirty boxing match, which was interesting. And now it seems like Roy is interested because he's responded on social media. And he posted a video saying, yeah, I'm down. You're going to call me out. I'm down. So it looks like they're going to try to make that happen. There's been some talks behind the scenes. Vitor Belfort versus Roy Jones. He's still nursing his surgically repaired shoulder. So we'll see if it all comes to fruition. But that happened. And speaking of legends, I also want to mention, as we have this brief intermission here, I want to mention that Mirko Krokop retired on Friday morning, our time. He did a interview at a local Croatian television station announcing that he suffered a stroke last Monday, a few days after his win over Roy Nelson in Bellator. Suffered a stroke. Said it wasn't anything that happened in the fight with Roy that led to him suffering a stroke. He was actually battling a neck injury, and it was bothering him for quite some time. Something happened. Had to be rushed to the hospital and was told by doctors that if he takes another punch to the head, it might be fatal. So thank God nothing happened in that fight against Roy Nelson. But at 44 years young, the great Mirko Krokop, the former K1 champion, the former Pride Openweight champion, the Rizin Openweight champion, one of the most lethal strikers in the history of this game. Left leg cemetery, right leg hospital was a right leg hospital, left leg cemetery was a right leg cemetery, left leg hospital. Whatever the case is, my head is spinning. You know what I'm talking about. He was knocking people out left and right, including the great Dos Caras Jr. And at that point, I mean, he was one of my favorites. There was no one more intimidating who like actually made me nervous, like the sight of him. You remember that video with him and Mauro Ranallo where he pranked Mauro? Mauro was interviewing him backstage for Pride, and he pranked him as he was preparing to fight Ron Waterman. I mean, that just, you go back and watch how Mauro looked, how uncomfortable he was, how anxious he was around Mirko Krokop. That gives you a small taste of just how intimidating that man was. The Croatian sensation, Mirko Filipovic. End of an era with him retiring. Certainly wish him the best, and it's always been great to have him on the show. He has this sort of like blunt Eastern European delivery, and I've always liked talking. He's always been, like dating back to before I was covering this sport for a living, always one of my favorite fighters. And sad to see him go, but I think it's the right time for him to go, and obviously wish him the best and hope that he doesn't suffer any more strokes and is happy and healthy in retirement. All right. Also of note, Paige Van Zandt is not fighting anytime soon. She broke her arm. Unfortunately, she has a fracture in her arm. She posted that on social media. So there were some reports that she was going to fight at UFC 236. Those aren't happening anytime soon. All right. Matter of moments. We're going to be joined by, I do believe, Coach Mike Winklejohn, head striking coach for one John Jones. We're also going to be joined by another one of John Jones's coaches, Brandon Gibson, in a minute as well. So it's going to be interesting to hear their perspectives on what happened Saturday with John Jones retaining his title against Anthony Smith, another dominant decision win. I know some people thought that John should have finished Anthony early, but Anthony's as tough as they come. I think he gained a lot of fans in continuing to fight, not giving up after the fourth round. And now we wonder what is next for John Jones, who said that he wanted to be active, who said that he wanted to get right back in there, who doesn't appear to have suffered any serious injuries in the fight. It seems like the most logical choice would be Thiago Santos, who's coming off that great win over Jan Blachowicz in Prague. That's the fight I want to see. I think that's the fight that makes the most sense next. And if John is willing, run it back as soon as possible. Let us talk to our next guest about that and a whole lot more. He joins us right now via FaceTime. Nope, he's not joining us right now. We're going to talk to Mike Winkeljohn about that. Later on in the program, by the way, we're going to be joined by Tyron Woodley, Diego Sanchez, Mackenzie Dern, and many others. Now let's go to FaceTime and say hello to Coach Mike Winkeljohn. Coach Wink, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and thanks for doing this a little early. I appreciate it very much. Congratulations on the win. Can you assess John's performance for us? What did you think of it on Saturday?
You know, it was pretty good. You know what? John was in a tough nut in that Anthony was constantly holding on and trying to survive. But John methodically picked him apart, controlled the action everywhere, and showed everybody why he is as good as he is.
It seemed like the team was confident that he'd be able to finish Anthony. Why do you think he was unable to do so?
Well, 2-on-1, honestly, on the ground, he has two hands on one always, and that made it hard for John to gain in submissions, do things. Anthony wasn't willing to open up, but at the same time, that's kind of scary because as soon as he releases, he's looking for that big shot. He's always been that kind of fighter that survives for a while and then comes back with something big. So it is what it is. Anthony decided to fight that way and get through the rounds, and it put us in that predicament that we couldn't finish him.
Okay. What are you thinking in the fourth round when he landed that illegal knee? What's going through your mind?
Not again. It reminds you of Vera, that situation where you don't want to lose a fight because of something stupid. I think John thought he was coming up. In fact, when I looked at it, one of the pictures I saw online, he was coming up, but he still had the one hand on the ground. It happens. Thank goodness Anthony's as tough as he is and decided to continue fighting and didn't fake that he was hurt really bad from it, because a lot of people lesser men could have taken that as an out. And, thank God Anthony Smith's a real warrior.
Yeah, were you worried about that? I mean, he would have lost the belt, right? He would have lost the belt if he took that DQ.
Yeah, I think that would have happened that way. It would have been a shame. We'd have to have a rematch, but that would have been terrible. That would have sucked. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Did you guys talk to John afterwards about why that's illegal and to try not? I mean, not everyone is as honorable as Anthony, as you know. A lot of people, I think, would have taken that. Have you talked to him about why he did that and to try not to do it again?
Why he did that? He was in the moment. I don't need to talk to him about it. He was reacting. He's fighting. He thinks he's coming up. He's going to throw a knee. John knows that when your hands are down like that, two hands, a lot of places now one hand. I know the rule's kind of stupid, confusing that they can't get together on. But with that being said, he's in the moment, so I don't need to ask him or tell him why it's illegal. He knows.
Okay. In California, that's actually a legal shot. Do you find that this is leading to confusion among fighters? I mean, his last fight was in California. I don't know if that was going through his mind at all, but it's kind of crazy that in different states, there's different rules now. This is a lot to ask of these fighters, I think.
Yeah, it is. You know what? It is confusing. But that being said, it was just, I think John thought he was coming up and was going to have both hands off the ground. And it just happened. It played out that way. Situations like that suck. There's no doubt about it. We don't want that to happen again. We got to think about it and stay in control. But hey, we won the title. No problem.
Absolutely. He has talked about wanting to be active this year after a fight like this, going the distance a little shorter than the Gustafsson fight. Does he still want to be active? Like, do you want to see him get right back in there a couple months later, as you said, going into this fight?
Well, we'll sit down this week, the team, everybody, Greg, myself, Brandon, and Izzy, and Tusa, and have a talk with John, find out what he wants to do. We definitely want to support what he wants to do. Want to make sure he's not burning himself out, make sure he's prepared, make sure he's fired up for it. I love it when he's in camp, but at the same time, I don't want him to get complacent and not train as hard as he does when he's on fire. So it's one of those things that we'll sit down and talk about it and see what everybody wants to do.
Have you noticed the difference in John? I mean, I thought he was so comfortable in front of the media last week. He seems to be at peace with everything, with his place in the sport, with the comeback, being active. Does he seem like a different guy to you behind the scenes? And if so, could you explain how?
I think he's come to terms with the drug type testing type of things. He's gone through some hard year. His mom, her leg being amputated, his mom passing away, his title being stripped of him for picograms, which they probably need to change the reference ranges on. So he's come to terms with understanding that that's done, that's over with. Now he goes forward. And if you're going to hate John Jones, you're going to hate John Jones. But you have to love his greatness and how good he is as a fighter. He does so many good things for people behind the scenes. And I think he's happy with himself right now and where he's at on his journey to continue being the best of all time.
When you guys found out on Thursday about these two drug tests, did you sense a deflation among the team, among John Jones? Were you worried that it was going to be deja vu all over again?
No, not at all. Because we're talking about these things that are coming up, these picograms. They're so small that I'm thinking, it's something in your environment. It's so small that he's touched, and it's going to stay in there in your system forever. And they need to look at these things that don't give you any advantage. Everybody's going to start picking up on these things because there's so many things out there in our environment. People touch all of a sudden. You touch somebody's skin by accident, and now you're gonna test positive for a drug the rest of your life. So it's kind of I think it's a little goofy, and I think people are figuring out that minute amount can be picked up in many different ways.
It seems like next in line for John could potentially maybe be Thiago Santos. He's looked very good. He's on a winning streak. Do you like that matchup? Are you interested in that matchup?
I'll be interested in that matchup. I have to sit down and talk with John. We haven't talked about it yet, but that kid's explosive. He comes in guns a-blazing. It could be an exciting fight. John would have to settle him down a little bit and put him in his place, but there's no doubt that young man's very talented on his way.
The Cormier thing is still lingering as well, although it seems to have been put on ice a little bit. Do you have any interest in John fighting Cormier again?
If John's motivated to do so, John will be more than happy to, do it a third time. And same outcome as the second time. I think John finishes him, heavyweight or light heavyweight, whichever it is. But it's just got to be one of those things that got to motivate John. John needs motivation to train really hard at a high level and to fire up and actually push himself even more in fights.
And what about heavyweight? Because on Saturday night he talked about the Lesnar fight, but I don't think it seems like a permanent move or a run for the belt at heavyweight is something that is of great interest to him right now. Do you want to see him, before it's all said and done, fight as a heavyweight and make a run at that title?
Honestly, before it's all said and done, I would love to have him make a run at it. Right now, I'd like to see him just clean house in the light heavyweight division. John does not have a hard time making weight. He's not a giant guy, so heavyweight would take a little bit of time, put a little bit of weight on, and go do it right. But I think he can dominate the heavyweight division as well and continue that legacy.
Because things are going so well at 205, why would you love to see him fight at heavyweight? What interests you in that regard?
Oh, the greatness, just showing everybody how good John Jones is, that he can win in both. He can dominate, not just win, but dominate in both divisions. And I believe in John Jones and his ability to do these great things in the cage, and I honestly believe in John's ability to do great things outside the cage later in his life.
Were you, and forgive me for not remembering, my mind is a little hazy right now, were you in Diego's corner as well on Saturday?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What is going on there? How is this happening? Who thought in 2019 that he'd still be around, not only still around, beating guys 10 years younger than him, on a winning streak? How do you explain what's happening to Diego Sanchez?
Well, he's motivated. He lives a clean life. He really does. He eats so healthy. He's doing yoga. He's stretching all the time. He's always working out. He's doing best things for his body. It's his daughter that motivates him to the highest level. And Diego's a grinder. He gets in there, and he's going to scramble forever on the ground. He's relentless. How cool is that he was in the first Ultimate Fighter show. He's still here just exciting the fans and just ground and pound and dominating people, scrambling on the ground. It was fantastic. It shows a lot to what Diego Sanchez can do, Greg Jackson, and Chad Smith's ability to put together the wrestling and the ground and pound and just control that fight. It was fantastic to watch.
If I would have told you a few years ago that he'd still be around winning, doing what he's doing to the youngsters, would you have believed me, or did you think that things would end a little sooner for Diego, the way his path was going?
A couple of years ago, I would have believed you. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have. But what I've seen in the last 5 years, the last couple of years, is this Diego pushing. He's constantly thinking he's back. He's going to push back, and I see him in the gym all the time working hard. So I'm a believer in Diego Sanchez, and just that was just incredible. It was just so exciting. He's so well loved at our gym. He's just that guy that's always up helping others. Behind the scenes, he helps out kids with special needs and does so many incredible things. He deserves all the credit and all the greatness he's achieved.
And you were supposed to have 3 fighters on this card, Coach. You were all supposed to have Holly Holm. What happened there? Could you explain to us what happened? Because now it seems like the Nunes fight isn't even happening at a later date.
You know what? We were training to fight Aspen Ladd and looking pretty good, excited about that fight. And all of a sudden, we got a phone call. Said, "Hey, you're not on it. We really want to put together this Amanda Nunes fight in Brazil." Negotiations didn't work out well for either party with that, but they wouldn't let us still fight Aspen Ladd. And then we tried to put it back. We wanted to put it back together, but I think Aspen. I think she came down with something, and sometimes that happens when your body's cranking hard, and all of a sudden you get that little bit of letdown. So that happens. So we were without a fight. And we still don't have a fight scheduled, but we would love to fight Amanda Nunes for the title, and that's what we're hoping for. I think that's what the public wants to see. I know that's what Amanda wants to do. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the fans are going to start demanding it. It's going to be an exciting fight. If anybody has a style to beat Amanda Nunes, that'd be a Holly Holm.
As of right now, though, not booked, correct?
Not booked. No, not booked. But we're hoping.
All right. Congratulations on a great weekend, Coach. What a scene it was for your gym. And all of a sudden, perhaps the demise of Jackson Wink was greatly exaggerated because it seems like you guys are on quite the roll these days. So congratulations to you and the team.
No, definitely exaggerated. Don't believe everything you read, and we're doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right, as always, there he is, Coach Mike Winkeljohn. Okay, it is a pleasure now to be joined by our next guest. He competed on Saturday. As you know, it did not go his way, but he has a very busy day right now in New York, a very proud day for him. Releasing his very first album, and he's always been a class act. He has always faced the music, good or bad. He said he'd be on Monday, and even though things didn't go his way, he's on Monday. There he is,
What's
Tyron
up?
Woodley. Tyron, how are you?
You know, I wanted to come in studio, man. I actually wrapped up a little bit earlier on Sway in the morning. We dropped the album, got done at noon, and I was like, man, should I just don't listen to Ariel and bring my ass in there anyway and get there at 2:00 and try to get through security? But no, I don't want to play those kind of games.
No, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your willingness. It's a long drive, and I wanted you to not have to go through all of that because you're all the way in New York right now. First off, let me just say thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You're a class act, and I didn't think you would because I didn't want to bother you, but it's great to talk to you, and I appreciate you doing it in the car right now. So can we talk first about Saturday? Is that all right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go out there and whoop everybody's ass, knock people out, defend the title so many times, and then the first time you face adversity, the first time you lose, you fall upon a rock. That's not ever been my style. You know, when I lost to Ray McDonald, when I lost to Nathan Marquardt, when I lost to Jake Shields, those are pivotal moments that changed me. More than just a heartbreak of losing your belt that you worked so hard for, the platform that you was just, really generating all the ways for everything that's coming up in my life. Like, I'm like, it didn't make sense for me. I didn't understand. I'm like, I got an album dropping, I got all this other shit that I just thought that, being the world champion once more just gives you a bigger platform. So God works in mysterious ways. Usman came out, he had a good game plan, he stuck to it. I just had one of those nights like I did against Rory McDonald, man, where it was just like, it wasn't characteristic Tyron that we used to seeing. I was telling myself to go, wasn't going. Telling myself not to back up, but I was backing up. And I was just having conversations with myself in the fight, like, are you gonna let this dude take your belt? And it was just like, it was just a bad dream. It was a fucking nightmare. Freaking nightmare. Sorry.
No, I understand. In the locker room that morning, did you get the sense that something was off, that you weren't yourself?
No, I felt great. I don't have no excuse. I felt great. Obviously, anytime I cut weight in the wintertime, it's not the best. But that's why I got no chills on people that miss weight, because if you miss weight and I cut so much weight, I don't feel sorry for you. So every time I cut weight in the winter months is very difficult. So this one was a hard cut, probably my hardest cut. But to be honest, luckily for like a cold plunge, I don't know if you're familiar with that, you just throw your whole body in there, neck down, and it gave me the reset button every time. So if I felt a little cruddy going into the weight cut, I jumped in a cold plunge joint, and then it reset my body. So I can't really make an excuse on what happened. It's just something that when I get time and I feel like watching it right now, I'm just not in a big hurry to go and watch the fight because I know it's not going to look like myself. But when I get to that point where I'm okay with watching it and then watching basically a shell of Tyron go out there and fight, then I go and make some critiques and I get ready to rock and roll because we got to do it again. I can't be the champion this long. Think about Georges St. Pierre when he lost to Matt Sarah, he lost to Matt Hughes. He came back and avenged those losses, and that's what made him the champion that he was. And I guess that's God's plan for me to have to come back and on the path of redemption.
Did anything that Kamaru did in the fight, maybe even his overall game, his strength, I don't know, did anything surprise you about him?
Nothing surprised me, man. I mean, the only person that was surprised in the octagon was him. I can see that he was waiting on the tyrant that he watched on video to explode. He was waiting on the power shots. He was waiting on me to, go crazy, stopping the shot, pushing him away, and coming forth with other things. So I can see him kind of being a little bit surprised just in his demeanor. And then once he recognized that, damn, man, he kind of offered, damn, he's not going to come with what I saw him come with on a video. Shit, I'm gonna go after him. And that's just I've always said this about Kamaru Usman. His composure for someone that has not been in there with that many guys that have been world champions or at that caliber, he really shows great composure, and he did that. He stuck to the game plan, and he was focused, and he got it done. So I never want to take away from somebody else's performance. I get my chance to get that back, that fight back against him, and try to get that belt back, and that's what I'm gonna focus on.
He set the record for most body shots landed in a UFC fight, 192. How much did those affect you?
You know what? At the time, not that much, but right now, I know the motherfucker hit me a couple times. I can feel it. But to be honest, when you're in a position like that, you don't want to just show somebody that hurt you with a body shot, because if you're a fighter, you can't take a body shot. You need to quit. So he was hitting me to the body shots, but I think that was just more. If you look at his game plan, one of my guys that's helped me out for this camp, Antonio McKee, he called me the day of the fight. He said, Tyron, he's going to try to press you against the cage. He's going to try to catch you on the clinch. He's going to try to take you down. He's going to work your body, head, whatever it takes to keep you on the ground, because he's not going to stand out in the open and shame. He's going to try to do long kicks and try to keep you at bay. This is his game plan, Tyron. He's watching a fight against Dane Marquardt. He knows it's better if he keeps close range. Some guys are talking to the game that they want to strike with me. He didn't do that, because when I asked him the path to victory, he wouldn't tell me, because he recognized that it may not be the most sexy way to win a fight, but the best way to put him in advantage is to not have me out in the open swinging, getting in the rhythm and punching. And he did that, man. So we gotta give Usman his props.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In hindsight, is there any part of you that feels like you maybe underestimated him? Because you always said, he does everything that I do, but worse than me. There's nothing that he does that concerns me, right?
No, I still feel the same way. I still feel the same way. And that wasn't a knock. That's just reality. It's just reality that, when it comes to striking, when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to anything explosive and extravagant, I'm better at those things. I just didn't do it that night. And that doesn't mean that I veer away from what I said. I still mean that, and I still think that when I rematch Kamaru Usman, when I get back and the tyrant that we know is out there in the octagon, I think we'll see what I'm saying. And this probably a payback to a trilogy fight, because I'm not going to go back there and get a rematch against this guy, beat him, and then I give him a shot to get the rematch back. Yeah, we might have to run this, 2 or 3 times, and I'm with that.
So no secret, and you even talked about it before this fight, the relationship that you've had with UFC brass with Dana White. Is there a part of you that is worried that you won't get this rematch because of how at times it seemed contentious while you were champion, that they won't want to, grant you that?
Area on paper, I think it's a no-brainer. You look at Ronda Rousey, who lost, and she went on a hiatus for several years, came back and jumped right into a shot. You look at, Conor McGregor, who boxed and hadn't fought since New York and comes back immediately too. I mean, these guys, I'm not comparing myself to the amount of draws they had, but a fighter like Joanna, who got knocked out fair and square by Rose, no controversy, no decision. She was instantly granted a rematch. So was Cody Garbrandt. And it looks and sound like TJ Dillashaw is going to get a rematch against Henry Cejudo. So for a fighter that was on the longest title streak out of all active champions, I can't see how they wouldn't do it. To be honest, we only allowed Kobe beef to happen because we just allowed it to happen. I mean, it wasn't like he was the most flattering fighter in the world. And I think that with him beating, someone that a lot of people thought was the greatest welterweight of all time, from Usman beating me, I think it's a situation where, we should run it back. We should run it back. Like Kobe said, his ass sit down somewhere, because all he's been doing is, causing hoopla and ruckus, and he'll still cause that same hoopla and ruckus no matter who fights. And if I fight Usman and I beat him, then we got to run a trilogy. If he happens to beat me, then I just got to come to grips and say, you know what? Maybe I didn't have a bad night. Maybe this dude's just better than me. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I
So,
think we're just going to end up being a trilogy.
so to be clear, you want the rematch next. You want an immediate rematch,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I talked to Usman today.
Oh,
I said, congratulations, my dude. You went out there, you did your thing. Shout out to you, congratulations. Because he asked me a long time ago. He asked me how did it feel to get that belt wrapped around me. He asked me that. He said, how did it feel when Dana wrapped that belt around you? And I remember asking Anthony Pettis the same thing right before I fought Robbie. I asked him that question. And for me personally, it didn't feel the same way, just because there was a lot of politics and a lot of bullshit that went around it. But I text him that he hasn't replied back. I'm assuming he has 300-400 messages from winning the fight. But he's a respectful person. He'll hit me back. But I told him, yeah, I take honor in that. Man. I take honor in fighting Carlos Khan. I took honor in fighting Koscheck. I took honor in fighting Robbie. I take honor in fighting the guys that are the best. And if this dude beat me, like, I still want to fight Rory McDonald again. You know what I mean? I still will fight Jake Shields again. I just feel like if someone found a way to beat me, and even if I was off and they were on, whatever, no matter what the situation was, I want to go back and get that back. You know what I mean? It's just a legacy thing.
did you talk to anyone from the UFC afterwards about your desire?
No, I didn't need to. I didn't need to. I mean, they know me. I talked to Hunter a little bit, and I told him that shit, I fucking lost, man. I can't just sit around and cry with spilled milk. And I just need to get back to my belt as soon as possible. So let's talk and let's see what I need to do. My assumption is that I should get an instant rematch against Usman. You know what I mean? I think I'll look back and forth conversation in a press conference, build it up the fact that he got a victory over me. I'm obviously not happy about it. I'm obviously not trying to go out like that. And I think that's enough to a compelling matchup enough and drive enough for the rematch. So that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. But I give those guys a call today or tomorrow.
I have heard people say you've got a lot going on in your life. You got your album Chaos Theory that dropped today. You're an actor.
Yeah.
Hawaii Five-0. Did you spread yourself too thin?
You know what? It's easy to say that, but I prayed about this. And Ariel, to be honest, from praying and stuff, what I kind of felt, spiritually is that you just lost, dog. Like I'm not gonna apologize for being an artist. I'm not gonna apologize for using every gift that God gave me. God gave you gifts to use, not to sit on them. I can't sit on the gift of writing or music just because I got a fight coming up. No, I use it as therapy. I use it to release. Are there things in my life that I can minimize? Things that I'm giving energy to that maybe don't deserve it? Is it, maybe it's one or two songs I could have not done that wasn't on the album? I recorded like 6 songs that's not on the album during the training camp. The fight before, I didn't record at all, but it was like torture. I was like, why am I torturing myself? I love doing music. So I've always done a lot, though, Ariel. I've always done a lot. I've always rose to the occasion. I don't have any excuses. I told you that in the warm up, I'm usually able to tell you what type of fight I'm gonna have. And in the back, I don't know how many cameras was back there, but I felt so sharp. I felt so aware. I felt so ready to fight. I walked out there. I felt good. I felt good when I looked across the octagon. I actually felt like he was, a little nervous. I'm like, he looked like he doing too much once again. And that's kind of what I felt. And I really don't have no answers. You know what I mean? I really don't have no answers, and I'll kind of figure it out and figure out what's what and shit. I mean, I've been here before.
The fact that your album is dropping today and you're doing a bunch of media about it, I think you had a party last night about it. Is that kind of a blessing that maybe this?
It's a blessing. Like I had an after party at Chateau in Vegas. I red eyed to LA. I did something at Dash Radio. We did a release party, like a private listening party for people to hear the album. Then we jumped from that red eye back to New York. So now we're just on Swear in the Morning releasing the album Chaos Theory. T-Double plus T Willie Archangel. So it's a blessing in disguise. I got to push this album just because it's not just me. It's so much time and energy that went into it. But it would have been so much doper, if that's even a word, to drop this damn album with Dick. Drop it with your belt still. You know what I mean? There's some tracks on I'm talking about beating ass. Like right now, I kind of got my ass beat. So
right. This is something that you're proud of. How long have you dreamed of doing something like this, dropping your own album?
You know, I never really. I love music, and I always used to freestyle. And you know, sometimes you take for granted certain. You're good. Sometimes you take for granted the gifts and things, your abilities that you have, and you don't really even think about it. You know, I never thought I was gonna be a fighter. I was an MMA coach, dude. I was a wrestling coach for guys that was getting taken down by wrestlers that couldn't stop them. So then I got to the point where now I said, let me give it a try. So I gave it a try, and I ended up being a world champion. So anything that I put my hands on, anything that I attempt and I go after with the same mindset I went after the goal. And that's why I can thrive in music. And I really got a lot to talk about. When you think about where I grew up, you think about what I've experienced. I've been at the highs, I've been at the lows. Right now, I'm experiencing, maybe not the worst time of my life, but it's not the best either. And, I've experienced having a lot of money. I've experienced being evicted from a home. So when you think about content and subject matter to rap about, who gonna tell me I can't rap about it? Who gonna tell me I didn't grow up in Ferguson? Who gonna tell me I never been evicted from a house? Who gonna tell me I never gang banged? Who gonna tell me I never lived in a house with people that fucking sold drugs and, you know, did real work in the street? Like, you can't tell me I didn't do that.
By the way,
That's where my music comes from.
we still have a couple more minutes, or do you have to go?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Because I saw you get out of the car, so I just wanted to make sure. Where can people get the album?
Hey, you can get it anything that's digital. So you search Arch Space Angels, two separate words. Arch Angels, the Angels is plural. Name of the album is Chaos Theories. You guys see there, CH. I know sometimes people spell chaos with a K. CHAOS. Look that up, baby. It's 14 tracks. We're gonna actually add Fight, which is a portion of my walkout track by T-Double. We're gonna add that as a bonus track just to show our appreciation. But anything that's digital, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, anything that you can download, you can grab it there. Man, it's a crazy album, man, and I encourage anybody who has any hesitation to me as an artist or as an MC to listen to it with those type of ears, or as Usman would say, with that energy. Listen to it with that energy, because I guarantee you, if you appreciate art, you appreciate passion, and you appreciate creativity, you're gonna find it in this album.
What's the first, like, what you suggest someone who's maybe hesitant? Oh, I don't like rap, or I don't like athletes, right? What's the first song that would be the best sort of intro that we should check out?
I would say Chaos Theory.
Okay.
If someone is hesitant about me and my abilities to rap, or athletes in rap, or even rap in general, Chaos Theory just comes out so hard. It's the first track on the album. It's actually the first. We got lights flipping on here. It's the name of the album as well.
Is that Paparazzi?
I mean, it's a couple cool. If you like to just chill back, you want some riding music. You going from San Diego to LA. You seeing mountains. We got a track called Money in the Love. Also a track called Slide with my homie Burner and G the Singer. Those are tracks that are kind of like Bay Area vibes. We got tracks that are just hard. What the hell going on? We got tracks that are just hard tracks that you can just tell where I came from on those. We got a track called I Can't Go On, talking about like mental health and pressure and stress. Because some people think that you're rich and you're making money, that you don't go through adversity, you don't go through problems. I've talked to you about this, off the radar area, but shit, man, you got a whole bunch of people relying on you, a lot of pressure. Like me, it's like music, TV, television. I got 5 kids, you know what I mean? All these different households I got to provide for. It becomes a bit much at times, and that song was a transparent way of me showing you guys that I'm human. Like even a part of one of the verses goes, "They struck flesh. I found out even God's bleed. Now I'm a mess. I tried my best to move on and stay strong, but then the hook kicks in. I can't go on." So we all get to those moments. So it's some real shit on there as well.
So along those lines, it's very apropos that you say that. Like right now, if I didn't know better, I would think that you're coming off a win on Saturday. Like I am blown away by how you're handling all of this. You suffered your first loss in quite some time since that Rory McDonald fight. Can you tell? I mean, you're a tough guy, from an exterior standpoint. But what is going on inside right now? How are you dealing with this? Truly.
I was heartbroken. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was heartbroken. As you see me in the octagon, I was really confused, and I don't like to question God, but I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand why this happened. at this point in my career, at this point in my time, I'm finally just starting to get the recognition I deserve. People are finally starting to pull out the stats. Like people are quick to pull out, oh, he landed the most body punches, or you landed the fewest strikes in Damian Maya fight, but nobody brought out the fact that your 47-second KO against Robbie Lawler was the fastest in welterweight history. You top 3 for the most knockdowns. Your striking defense percentage is the highest. You got the highest takedown defense of excuse me, in welterweight history. All these different, longest streak of active champions. All these things that you selectively see being used, and not very often. So right when I was feeling like, you know what, the corner's trying to change for me, then I suffer a loss. And the only thing that I can see is that God is made strong in my weakness. So if I feel weak as hell at this point, he must be strong as you know what. Because right at that moment, man, I felt like a glare of depression trying to jump on me. And it's still new. I might next week break down the fucking crowd a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Like this belt mean a lot to me, and I do focus on every opponent. I do train hard, and I try not to let anything distract me, even if I'm doing music and outside entertainment stuff. I've been able to stay at the top. I've always done that though. That's the funny thing. I've always done that. Music is the only new thing, and that's become a therapy. Less known than the hindrance. So I was heartbroken, man. Like I can't just watch it Usman. Like I just had to keep telling myself, at least it was Usman. If it was Kobe, my God, I might extend that fight to the damn parking lot. But it was just like, you know what? At least it's him. I mean, at least I respect this kid. At least he, can use his platform because he ain't gonna have it for long. Because I'm coming back to get the belt, but he can use it for the time that he got to do something positive. Man. And I just have to keep telling myself, you just lost. Think about all the movie stuff. Think about all the music stuff. Think about the people that called you for tickets. Think about social media. Think about the drama. Think about all these things. You can do that, and I can try to find a million reasons and excuses on why I lost. But I'm gonna just say this: I lost, and more importantly, I learned.
Last thing, Colby told us earlier that he was told by Dana White that he is next. What will you do if they don't give you a title shot? What do you plan on doing?
I mean, I do what I've always done, man. We seen how I go the other way. When you try to cry with spilled milk and you try to act like you started the UFC and you didn't. You can't do that. And I think that's what caused Kobe to not fight me twice or whatever his situation was. He thought he was running the show. Do I think I should get the shot over Kobe? Hell yeah. One, Kobe was never the champ. He never had the reign I had. He hasn't fought since RDA, correct? And he was supposed to fight me in September. He was supposed to fight me in March. This fight was supposed to be his fight. You know what I mean? The Till fight was supposed to be his fight. And for whatever reasons, we didn't come to agreements, and these guys got pulled up instead of him. So technically, he was next in line. But I don't think that he's been sitting around if he should deserve it. But I also, like I said, I don't want for the UFC. If they see a quick marketing pool to do it, and they see a draw, and they think that because of that little open workout beef and him pulling up a day at the gambling table was enough to get this fight revved up, then, this ain't company. But I ain't going nowhere, I'll tell you that much.
Tyron, I appreciate this. You're a class act, my man. It really is special to see how you're handling this. Congratulations on the album. Again, it's called Chaos Theory. We could show the album cover right over there, and there it is. Congratulations. I know how special
this is. Make sure you guys download that. Appreciate your area, man. Sorry I couldn't come up. I would love to come to Bristol and check it out full-fledged. But, yeah, check it out, guys. iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, anywhere you can download music. Archangels, Chaos Theory. Appreciate you guys.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. All the best to you, Tyron. Good luck with the album. There he is, Tyron Woodley, the now former UFC welterweight champion, handling this incredibly well, losing to Kamaru Usman on Saturday, and curious to see what they do with him next. Now, let us move along and go back to the Jon Jones topic of discussion. We spoke to Coach Mike Winkeljohn. Now let's talk to one of my favorites in this game, Six Gun, Brandon Gibson. Wow, look at him cleaning up well. Brandon, how are you? I like it. I've never seen you in a suit before.
Day job life. I'm trying to get that August McGregor sponsorship.
Yeah, that's right. Well done. By the way, could you tell us what is your day job? Are you allowed to tell us that?
It's classified.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, you look good.
No, I work for our local government here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I take a lot of pride in being a civil servant.
Yeah. So how do you split the time? Like, do you tell them I have FICA? Like, how do you do both jobs? They seem like 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, it is. God bless my wife.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I typically just train fighters at night. So Greg and Wink hold down the gym in the day, and I'm there in the evening, and I take vacation on the big fights and go out there last minute on the not so big fights. But I do my best to balance everything.
So when do you actually get free time with your family?
When I am old.
Okay. All
No,
right.
I do my best. Being a father is the most important job for sure. But sometimes when we're in these big camps like Jones just got out of, it's very time constrictive. And now that we're past that, I do my best to kind of rebalance my time and give them as much as I can.
So I spoke to you on Saturday right before the fight on the radio, and that was a cool little thing to get to talk to you guys after I just saw you in the cage getting a feel for it, John, warming up in front of an empty arena. And you told me that you were rather confident that John would finish Anthony Smith. Why didn't he, in your opinion?
I really had foreseen John getting to the position he was in the 4th round, where we're just, ground and pounding, finding the big knees to the body, controlling, hunting for the submission. But man, Anthony was tough. He did a good job staying composed, even when John was raining down the big strikes. And we knew he was going to be tough, and we knew he was going to be durable. And there was a lot of positions we'd seen Anthony in the past where he had been beat up for a few rounds, like the Volkan fight. Volkan fades a little bit, and then Anthony comes on strong. So it got to a point in the fight where we knew that we had to really just pace John out and make sure he didn't give everything and give Anthony a window to come back in.
What is going through your mind in the 4th round when he lands that illegal knee? And it seems like for a second things were up in the air.
Yeah, it's scary. I know John was trying to time it. He was trying to wait for Anthony to get up. I think he knew there's short time left in that 4th round, and he was looking for a big strike to put Anthony away. But it's scary. I know in those situations a fighter can take their way out and get DQ, and it would be a terrible way to end a world championship fight. And Anthony lived up to his moniker. He really is a Lionheart. He showed that by getting up, and I know it's a frustrating position for him to be in. We don't want to land any illegal strikes. You want a strong competitive fight with sportsmanship. I don't think John did it intentionally. It's just how the game goes sometimes.
Yeah. And I was talking about this earlier. In California, that's a legal strike. And so I know they're not, you don't have time to really assess what's going on. You're sort of flowing out there. But this highlights, in my opinion, the problem with the quote unquote unified rules of MMA. It's impossible to ask these individuals to determine what's going on from state to state. It's absurd, if you ask me. Is there a chance that maybe this, led to confusion on John's part? Did you talk to him about this afterwards?
John knows what he did. And the referees do their best job to specify what is legal in what state, if it's the palm down, if it's the fist down, if it's weighted, or if you could have the fingertips just kind of touching. But there is a variety of rules, and that is a position that they do their best to cover. I don't know if we covered those specifics that detail before the Smith fight, but it's a position that fighters should be aware of. It kind of reminded me of Tim Means in Vegas. I think it was 2 years ago where he landed a similar knee in a similar situation. It's unfortunate. Let's just make it all legal. Pride rules.
Yes,
worldwide.
That's right. Because also right before that, I don't know if you saw, but it looked like he may have landed an illegal kick as well. Did you notice that?
From our vantage point, it looked like it hit the body. That wasn't a strike that had concerned me.
Okay.
Maybe a different camera view shows something different, but from where we were sitting cage side, it looked like that strike had hit the body.
Is John Jones back, in your opinion? Like, you feel like he's fully back from the layoff? He's now gotten 2 fights in the span of essentially 2 months. Do you feel confident that we are now seeing the old John Jones, or do you still feel like there's some more work to get him back to, when he was going through all those legends a few years back?
I think he's a much better fighter than he was several years ago when we were fighting all the legends. I think his game has improved so much. And I like that he fought 2 times in an 8-week period. I think it's great to the fans. I think it's great to his family and to our team and the coaches and to himself. I feel like it's something he needed to do. And now we'll kind of sit back and reassess if we're going to fight 3 times this year, 4 times a year. But he's healthy, he's injury free, and we just need to keep that fire lit under him.
So do you feel like he's going to come back in relative short order, He's going to keep that up. What he was saying was, before the fight, I want to fight 3-4 times this year. Is that still the plan after Saturday?
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to sit down this week with Coach Winklejohn and Jackson and Izzy and Tusa and John and see what the next goal is. Maybe it's summer, maybe it's fall, but I know John's fired up. He's ready to get back to work already, and these are key windows for us to work with John and continue to improve with him as a martial artist, not have a specific opponent and a game plan being developed. It's just, let's make John Jones better.
Sure, and probably good to keep him, when he's in the gym, when he's in training camp, that seems to be the best time for John. Like when he has long breaks, maybe that's when he gets in a little bit of trouble, right?
Everybody needs a goal and a job to go to and focus on. It keeps all of us healthy.
Do you like the Thiago Santos matchup? Does that intrigue you? Do you feel like he poses some interesting questions that you guys have to figure out?
Sure. You had mentioned John running through all the legends. I think a few years ago when we had like the Pride legends, the Rampage, the Vitors, the Shoguns, that was a really cool time in light heavyweight. And now John is the legend. Now we got these young up and comers like Thiago, like Johnny Walker, and Anthony Smith. And it's cool to be in this position where we're looking at these young guys and we're seeing what we could do to get them.
Yeah. Did you know that in John's 20 UFC fights, that was the first time that he fought someone who was younger than him?
Yeah, and they're going to keep getting younger.
Yeah.
We just got to keep getting sharper.
It's amazing how the youngest champion in UFC history, who for the longest time, felt like, the babyface guy, is now starting to be the grizzled veteran. It's crazy how that works. I think
even you and I have a gray hair too popping
we're
up.
old. We're old. It's unbelievable. And I'm blown away by you saying that he is better now, that this version of John Jones is better. I honestly don't know if many people would agree with you, but are you able to expand a little more, like technically what makes him better these days?
He's getting more efficient with everything he does. Everything's that much more calculated. I think defensively he's getting much better. I mean, Anthony landed 40-something strikes in a 5-round fight. Take the illegal knee out, and that would have been a 50-44 championship performance. Just dominant. John's taking less risk. It reminds me of watching George St. Pierre. As George St. Pierre evolved, that it started becoming less explosive stuff and more just refined jab and double legs. Not that those are the tools John's necessarily going to use going forward, but his playbook is so deep and he's so efficient with each and every move. And he's just going to continue to outstrike these guys, out wrestle these guys, out clinch these guys, out grapple these guys, out ground and pound these guys, and take less and less damage. That's our goal.
After a John Jones fight camp, is it exhausting? Like, do you feel like, is that just like a massive weight lifted off shoulders? You guys haven't experienced a loss together while you've been a part of his team, but I can't imagine with all the hoopla and all the attention and all the buzz, it's got to be exhausting, right?
I think it's something we're built for. This team's built for it. We have a lot of experience here. I think if I was a part of almost any other camp, it would be, but this is what we do. This is what we do. And that was, I think, the 18th UFC title fight I've cornered. So we have a lot of experience on the big stage. John has a lot of experience. I'm learning from Greg and Wink, who have more experience than probably any other coaching staff in the game. But I'm happy to get home and, decompress a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I'll be anxious to get back to work here real soon.
Yeah. And how is the mood these days at the team? Because it seemed like, not that long ago, people were saying Jackson Wink was overrated and you guys were done and you hadn't, won a big fight in quite some time. You had Diego win on Saturday as well. John with the big win, his second in the span of 2 months. Do you sense a change in the vibe, in the mood at the team? Could you describe it? Can you pinpoint it?
Don't call it a comeback.
Yes.
We've been here. There is a change in the vibe, though. Last year was hard. It was challenging for all of us. I don't think anybody expected the team to kind of go through what we went through. But I think it brought a lot of us closer together, and having unified goals like the Jones Gustafsson fight were beneficial for everybody on the team. That's what we needed, was a common goal, brought everyone together, and it made us stronger. It made us stronger. I still got a lot of love for Cowboy and for a lot of the fighters that have parted ways with the team, but it's put us in a stronger place, and I think we're just going to keep getting better and better and better.
Congratulations, Brandon. I appreciate you doing this while at work. I didn't know you were at work. You could have told me that you were busy, but thank you very much for doing that. Your other job, of course, we saw you in action on Saturday. Congrats to you and the team. Keep up the great work over there. And looking for who is the next one for you? When's the next fight, event, big event? What do you got?
You know, I'm Jody Escobar, Jessica Penne, rescheduling. I look forward to that, and we'll see what John has coming up. And a lot of other guys are kind of in limbo right now, just waiting and getting better. And I'll be helping however I can with whatever other camps happen.
Thank you, Brandon. Enjoy. Go back to work.
Thank you, Ariel. Yes, sir.
There he is, Six Gun, Brandon Gibson, striking coach for one John Jones in his corner on Saturday. Okay, what a great story on Saturday. Longtime coach Henry Hoof finally got his UFC champion. He was in the corner of Kamaru Usman doing his thing down in South Florida. Has had opportunities in the past, didn't work out for various reasons, but on Saturday, Henry Hoof finally got his UFC champion. He is kind enough to be joining us right now via FaceTime. There he is. Henry, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much, Ariel. Thank you. Finally being on the show again.
Oh, stop it.
Talking about winning fights and titles instead of other stuff, right?
Yes, it's good to have you. Congrats. So you got your UFC champion. What does it feel like?
Well, first of all, we got it because it's not only me, of course. Gregory Jones, Kami Barzini. Let me tell all the guys. Dr. Peacock, our guy, and especially the guys in the room. They help out a lot every day. They're every day there in the gym. So. But it's a good feeling, of course, because, like you just said, we had a couple of title fights, and it's good after a long, long road working together and going so far and then finally win it. Yeah, it was amazing. It was just, what we were working so hard for, and finally get it, especially with Kamaru, who started with us really and followed our path. Yeah, it was an amazing feeling, of course.
Do you know off the top of your head how many UFC title fights you were a part of before Saturday night?
Rashad Evans, John Jones, Vitor Belfort, John Jones, Anthony Johnson, DC, Anthony Johnson, DC, Volkan Oezdemir, DC, Kamaru Usman, becoming world champions against Tyron Woodley.
Amazing. Was there a point where you thought, I'm never going to get to experience this? Were you doubting yourself, or you always knew?
No, man, I'm not a doubter. If I was a doubter, I wouldn't be here. I'm from the Netherlands. I've been a champion myself. I trained with the best fighters in the world. With Eddie Alvarez, we already won a Bellator belt, and I trained Eddie until he won the UFC belt. We have the ONE FC double champion in the house. We got Michael Chandler as a champion, and also we got 14 UFC guys, 11 Bellator guys, 3 Glory guys. We got so many fighters in our gym. It's a little more different. To have if you have one athlete and you have a couple of coaches around it, it's cool. But we have so many athletes, and we do it with 3 of us in the mornings and the evenings. So it's not so easy, you know. But we got it done.
When did you start working with Kamaru? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was 2012, early 2012, when he was with Rashad. And of course, he was there in the beginning. They say solely a wrestler. Of course, he had some striking, but mostly, of course, the wrestling partner from everybody. So that must have been early 2012, I think.
And do you recall what you thought of him back then? Like, did you think that he'd be able to turn into this? He's now 10-0 in the UFC, one of 4 men to start his career undefeated like that, likes of Anderson Silva, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Royce Gracie. I mean, he's in pretty special territory here. Did you expect this?
No. I don't think in the beginning of a career that you can really. Of course, you can see special things. Like I said before, when I started working with Tyrone Spong, and Peter Arts, and all these guys in kickboxing, you see special stuff, things that other people don't do, like before fights or during hard sessions, how they react. You see special things, but they still need to do it in the big fights, in the moments where it's very important. And what I always saw from Kamaru and what he showed and what is his strong point is his dedication and also his discipline in everything. He comes on time, he warms up good, after he trains hard. After training, he cools down, he takes care of his body, then he takes a beautiful daughter to the playing park, brings her to gymnastics before training. He's very disciplined. He's everything you really want in a fighter. But like I said, there's also some cases where people just are special, like John Jones, and you see it in the beginning, but they still need to do it. And people don't understand how hard it is to perform for so many people, to represent your team, represent the people that are with you, and then at that moment pull the trigger. That's not for everybody, you know. So he's a special guy, and I think he will be a very good champion.
That was an incredibly dominant performance. It was one-sided, 50-44. We haven't seen a score like that in a UFC welterweight title fight since UFC 111 when George St. Pierre defeated Dan Hardy. You've been very honest in this interview, so I'm curious, when you were game planning, when you were thinking about the fight, did you think it would be that one-sided?
No, hell no. I always say the same thing. I'm not, again, people think I'm joking, but again, me and Greg and Kami, we're not really game planners. I mean, we've seen so many fights and we've seen so many opponents and we have so many good people in the gym that we just train our guys, teach them the skills, and make sure that they get ready to fight their best at fight night. You know, of course we look at the videotape, but Kami knows everybody in the game. Greg has seen everything. I've seen a lot of things. And we don't forget, we have Rashad Evans around, Michael Johnson, we have people, Vito Belfort, we have people that's seen a lot of stuff. So we are a little different, and maybe some guys say that's why you don't get the belt earlier, because you don't game plan. But at the end of the day, we are still trainers, and we want to teach our guys skills, you know. So he fights a very dominant champion, Tyron Woodley, from a very good camp. I respect Duke Roufus and his guys a lot. Like I always respect my opponents, because people forget, to become champion, you need an opponent. To fight, you need to be an opponent. You need an opponent. To make money, you need an opponent. So what happens in the last couple of years in our game here, with people talking trash, fighting each other, all the stuff that's outside of fighting, for martial artists, it's not a good feeling. I have the feeling that sometimes outside of MMA, people think that our sport is not even real anymore. It's all gimmicks and stuff, you know. And I'm very happy to see a guy like Kamaru who really won every fight he needed to fight to get that shot to win so dominant that evening. And okay, you can say some stuff to each other. I'm gonna beat you up, but really trash talking and get into all this kind of fight stuff and everything to sell a fight. I think skills and ability will sell fights anyway. So that's what happened on Saturday. He just did what he does in training. He goes forward, put pressure on everybody, does the right stuff, does the right takedowns at the right moment, hurt people in between. He does really, like Greg Jones always says, Kamaru is very good at doing small things in between that people don't really see. And he breaks people, and he's very, very strong, disciplined guy. So it will be very hard to stop a guy like that, you know. And his striking is getting better every time. I still see stuff where we can work on that will be hopefully people will see in the future. But for now, I must say he's been doing great.
I mentioned earlier that he set the record for most body shots landed in a UFC fight, 192. Was that part of the game plan? Did you want to target Woodley's body, and if so, why?
I want every fighter from me to hit somebody's body.
Huh.
I hit the body, hit the head, hit the leg. What's there you need to hit. But, you know, Tyron is a very explosive fighter, you know. So if you can take that away, then probably he will slow down, you know. We had a little feeling that if Tyron wouldn't like really hurt Kamaru in the beginning and the fight will go on, it will be more in Kamaru's favor. But, you know, it's still a fight and it's still 5 rounds and you fight a champion, you never know what happened. But I don't see a lot of people doing what Kamaru doing. In the 4th or the 5th round, he breathes and he looks at you like, okay, tell me what's the story, you know. And then he just goes on for another round, you know. And to some people, they think, he didn't get the finish. And these people don't know. You sign a contract for 25 minutes. You get a check when you fight, and you get 2 checks if you win the fight. That's all we need to do. And if that's not enough entertainment to dominate somebody like that, then you guys are watching the wrong sport, you know? You need to watch some fake-ass wrestling or whatever, but not this, you know? It was very dominant.
I agree. So you talked about the trash talk and all that stuff that seems to dominate the sport these days. It is coming with Colby Covington. You may have seen the footage yesterday at the casino, and they just don't like each other. What do you make of Colby Covington as a person and the way he's selling this?
Well, I don't know him as a person. I don't know him, but again, like I said before, I'm old school and probably very too old for this. But when people have a big mouth, they back it up. And I see in his fights, he wins his fights. So there's a reason why he wants to have a title fight, and that's all cool. But you don't need to really be trash talking. You know, again, you need to sell yourself by fighting good and putting it on. And if you keep winning your fights, you'll get your chance. You can be flashy, but there's only one Conor McGregor. John Jones doesn't talk trash, and everybody wants to see him fight. It's entertainment, I know, but still we're in the fight business. The entertainment must always be skills and fighting, not talking, not trash talking. Just respect. At the end of the day, it's respect. You're going to fight somebody else. Both of the guys are going to make each other's lives better, and that doesn't make any sense. What I saw some clips. I didn't even know what happened. I saw some pushing and shoving, and I saw at the open workouts he was there, and I kind of laughed about it because it was funny to see a grown-up man walking around like that. But I don't know. It's not my. It never happened in my sport, the way I come from. So it's going to happen when they're going to fight each other, and hopefully. We can just keep on doing what we do. Just train hard, concentrate on the fight, and try to beat every opponent that we face in the octagon. Not outside, not with talking shit. Just put a beating on everybody. That's what we want to do. But he probably will make a whole scene, and if that works for him, and if he wins fight with that's good to him. But I think when he fights Kamaru and the case is close, it's going to be a different story. You know, I think for a lot of guys. They underestimate this guy a little bit too much.
We found out on Saturday that Kamaru had a fractured foot. His manager showed us this video from Monday that he was in a boot. When did he injure his foot? And were you concerned that he might have to pull out of the fight, or at the very least that it would affect him in the fight?
No, I think in our sport, again, I come from kickboxing. I never went into a fight without an injury. There was always like a finger or a toe or a broken thing or this, that. You want to compete. You want to fight, especially if you can fight on a card like that. So, yeah, he had some little things here and there, you know, but no big issues. And he will not say no to a fight. He knew it was his time. He knew it was the time to get the belt. Everything was good. So, or hurt feet or a hand or whatever. He's been wrestling for a long, long time too, so he has some little things. But again, MMA is a very it's a sport where people get injured all the time: knees, back, elbows. That's the thing about this sport. You know, you never know what can happen. But that feet didn't really bother him in the fight. So no, I think it was good.
All right. Well, congratulations, Henry. I'm happy you finally got that champion, that UFC champion. You've had others, of course, in different organizations, but there is something special, I think, about having a UFC champion, and especially your first one. Congratulations to not only you and the entire team, Kamaru as well. What a performance. Unbelievable. One of the very best in UFC title fight history. Very one-sided and dominant. Enjoy the victory, my friend.
Thank you very much. And again, skills pay bills. Just fight. Stop talking trash. Just fight, because I know you don't want to be a drama reporter. I know you're a good reporter. You want to talk about good stuff, not about some clowning circus stuff. Just keep fighting hard, guys, and we see you guys soon. Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you, Henry. Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
All the best to you. There he is, Henry Hooft, coach for Kamaru Usman. Very happy for him and the team, what they accomplished on Saturday. One of the great stories on Saturday, the return of Diego Sanchez. Mickey Gall said a lot of things about him, said he would render him unconscious, that he would knock him out early. Didn't happen. Sanchez wins, finishes him. What a performance. You thought he was done? Y'all must have forgot. 2019, the original Ultimate Fighter is still kicking. There he is, the nightmare, Diego Sanchez. Diego, congratulations. How are you, my friend?
Don't call it a comeback. Been here for years, baby.
How honestly, Diego, this is one of my favorite stories of all time covering. The original Ultimate Fighter, the man who a few years ago, we were all saying, fans, media, okay, maybe it's time. You're getting knocked out. How are you doing this? How are you beating guys who are younger than you, finishing them on a winning streak in 2019? Can you, I don't know if it's an easy answer, if it's an answer at all that you can give me, but what is the secret to this success 14 years after you won TUF?
Well, you know, there's a lot to it. There's definitely a lot to it. the secret to my success. One of the secrets to my success has been coming up in weight classes, coming up from 55 to welterweight. That was a huge thing for me because in 2017 I had that hard year where I received back-to-back knockout losses, and I had to really, really look at the drawing board and say, hey, Diego, what is a better weight class for you to fight? Are you actually healthy fighting at this weight class at 155? Are you the best version of yourself at 155? And I looked back and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not healthy. And especially in the Ali Quinto fight, my reflexes were a little slower. My reaction time just and then all around durability. Just you know, I play by the rules. I've had a complete all natural UFC career, and with that being said, when USADA came in and they took the IVs away, I'm not the guy that's doing IVs in the back still, because I hear these rumors that guys are still using IVs, but that's not me, and I wasn't going to do that. So like I'm doing the best I can to be natural and healthy. And at welterweight, I'm actually fighting, weighing in maybe 173, 174. I'm going in there at my natural fight weight, and I'm fighting at my natural fight weight. And I'm looking to change the game. I'm looking to change the game for all the fighters, because I want these fighters to be able to actually be healthy and leave their careers, whether they be short or whether they be long like mine. I want them to leave this career and leave this sport with their mind in play. You know, with their intelligence and their mental health at a perfect level. You know, where they're healthy.
Mickey said a lot about you going into this fight, about knocking you out and unconscious, and you know, you were the older guy. He called you out, right? He was asking for this fight. Any of that stuff give you a little extra motivation to not just beat him, but maybe teach him a lesson on Saturday?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've been just reprogramming my mind and how I think and what I set as my goals when I go into these fights. I'm going into these fights with just some vicious, relentless, like this. I'm coming with the crazy. I'm coming with the crazy. Like, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you now. Like I had to change, reprogram my mind, and so it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what they do or say to me. It doesn't matter if the guy is like the nicest guy, or a funny guy like Ben Arskan, or whatever it is, because I've reprogrammed my mind to where I just see it as, if they're stepping into that area, into that space with me, they're at risk. Like, they know what they're getting themselves into. I know the risks of getting in that octagon. I've had wars, man. I've had my face split open. Like, I've had these dudes try to come and hurt my brain, my one and only brain that I got. I've had these guys try to knock it out, and I've had it knocked out. So I know what these guys' intentions are. So what are Diego Sanchez's intentions? My intentions are to go in there and like be brutal. Like, I'm looking to break this dude's face. Mickey Gall was a bad guy. He was like, that was a good guy versus bad guy type of scenario that I really liked. I was excited. I like bad guy fights. You know, I liked when I got to fight Nick Diaz. He played the bad guy. You know, I got to play the good guy. You know, all throughout my career, I love getting to fight the bad guy. And Mickey Gall was trying to play the bad guy card, and you know, he got his ass whooped. You know, he's probably shitting blood, pissing blood, and has a bad headache today. You know, I know for sure he's laying his head on that pillow, and his neck ain't feeling good. The back of his ear ain't feeling good. All the places that I landed elbows ain't feeling good. And he's lucky that ref pulled him off. That pulled me off of him, because this dude had already bit me and eye gouged me, and I wasn't even gonna tell the ref.
Yeah.
I wasn't even, you know, I got.
Whoa. Yeah.
See if I still got the bite. Let's see if I still got the bite mark.
I see it right there.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm a fast healer. I'd be healing real quick.
Yeah.
But you know, in the eye, he eye gouged me too. He actually tried to take my eye out. I was like, so it was getting dirty in there, man. Like I got him with the dirty Sanchez. Boom, 3 fingers. Check that oil as hard as I could. You better let go of that leg. You better get low of that leg. You better let go of that leg. And you know, so it was getting dirty in there. It was, you know, I was full on out in a street fight. In my mind, there was no Mark Goddard wasn't in there. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, it's just 2 men, and I'm in there to hurt this guy. But I was able to really truly use my veteranship. I really used my veteranship this fight. I was able to watch him being emotional. I was watching his emotions, and he was emotional. He really believed he was going to go in there and knock me out. You know, he tried to use the law of attraction and manifest this future for himself, but he didn't understand. You know, he was trying to manifest against a legend of the game that I knew what he was in there doing, and I knew he was a spring chicken. I knew that he was going to get in there and that he was going to go hard, and I knew it. And once he started throwing punches with everything he had, I swear he threw this one punch, Ariel, that was like a weightlifter. It looked like a weightlifter. Like it just was like like that. Like while you're weightlifting, it was like like and like I was like, oh shit. I was like, I read it right away. I was like, it was slow motion to me. Everything was like, I was like, oh, we get him out, because I could have just put him against the cage and took him down at will. The guy had no wrestling, and so I was just like, okay, you know what? It's ESPN. Let's give ESPN the fight they want. Let's give them some action. Let's give them some stand up. And I just started playing a little bit of the rope-a-dope. Like I could see every punch coming. I was able to flow with it, roll with it, and absorb it, you know, whether it be with a little bit of the glove, whether it be with a little bit of, you know, whatever it was. I was rolling with it. Nothing was connecting. Nothing was really truly connecting on me solid. And every punch that he was throwing, he was wearing himself out. So I was like, all right, I'm going to let this guy wear himself out. Then I'm going to attack the body. And then once I attack the body and he's already wear out, I'm going to take his soul, I'm going to take his spirit, and he's not going to have nothing. He's not going to have nothing, and that's exactly what happened. He had nothing left, and I put the hurt on him.
Amazing. Wow. Diego, I heard you say something after the victory about going outside. I wanted to ask you about this, about going outside during a rainstorm, lightning, and feeling the energy. Could you tell me more about that? I've never heard you talk about that before.
Oh yeah. That's from season 1, Tough. Right before I was about to fight Josh Rafferty.
Yeah.
I was about to fight Josh Rafferty, and while I was about to fight Josh Rafferty, there was actually a storm outside, and I went out there, and like it goes back to like I remember the very first time that I seen it was Rickson Gracie on Choke, the documentary that he did.
Yeah.
They're out in the mountains, and there's like a waterfall, a river, and they're on the river, and while they get in the river, and his wife's like, no, don't get in that river, you're gonna get sick, and he's like no, he's like the energy, he's like everything's energy, you know, like you can tap into this energy, and so he gets in, and he's in the river, in the freezing cold river right before his fight, and I'm like, and I seen that, and I was only 19 years old, 20 years old, and I was like, wow. I was like, all right, you know, this guy's the guy that I look up to. I was like, this guy's the guy that I want to learn from. At that point, he was undefeated, considered one of the greatest of all time, and so I got it from Rickson Gracie. But
what do you feel when this happens? What happens to you?
It's just energy. It's just energization. I feel energy from it. It's call it what it is, you know. Call it what it is. It's call it magic, you know. Like it's magic to me. I get energy from the nature. I get energy from the nature. I believe in grounding. You know. The full moon energy. I can't sleep on those full moons. There's so much. I'm so sensitive to all kinds of stuff, and so something that I did this fight was be aware of just other people's energy, number one, And whether they are energy vampire, whether they are energy, a giver, whether it's, I don't know. But like fight week, it's real sensitive, man. There's a lot of weird energies going around, a lot of like bad spirits, like so. I was doing my sage and saging myself, and just doing my being real aware, not touching people, protecting myself, not giving everything like to the fans as much as I normally would, after the fight, all right, I'll sign as many pictures as I can, I'll do what I can for the fans, but as far as like guarding my energy, my sacred energy, and what I have inside of me, and just keeping it clean, keeping it pure, and sanctified before I go into that holy place of the octagon.
Wow, that is amazing. You've talked about anti-aging as well. You're the only fighter, Diego, to have a fight in the UFC every year since 2005. No one has accomplished something like that. It's an incredible feat for you, something you should be very proud of. How does anti-aging play into this? People have tried to find the secret to anti-aging. They've tried to figure it out. Have you figured it out?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I'm still figuring it out. It's a process of adaptation. It's a process of adaptation. You must be able to adapt, and if you can adapt, and that's why I say, like, if I was a superhero and I had one superhero power, it would be adaptation. I'm able to adapt into my situations, my scenarios, whatever it is that I'm going on in life. I'm able to adapt. I'm a very adaptive, resourceful man, and that's one of the blessings that I have from God. And so adapting is learning stuff every day. And as I was on this quest from the age of 19, 20, I saw Randy Couture, and I was on the Ultimate Fighter, and this old man was like 44 years old, I think, at the time, and I was 22 years old. And this old man was freaking whooping my butt on workouts. I mean, like, my legs would be so sore, I'd be coming down the stairs, I could barely walk down the stairs. I'm 22 years old. Yeah, like, that's when I was introduced to the ice bath, because my legs were so painful, and like I was seeing this old man every day coming in and just outworking everybody. And so I took from him something in his mind. It was a mindset. It was a mindset first, a mindset to understand and say, I'm different. I'm not the regular. I'm not the average. I'm different. I'm Diego Sanchez. I'm not applicable. I'm not applicable. I'm the anomaly. I'm way different, man. I really truly do thrive outside the box. You try to put me in a box, it's like putting a tiger in the zoo. I don't work like that. I work outside the box with my weird shit, with my crazy shit. One of the biggest things was I was searching for anti-aging physically. This I was on the search for this, whether it be nutrition, whether it be supplementation, whether it be the alkaline 9.5 water that I drink, whether it be the meditation that I do, whether it be just the self-belief that I have a neuroplastic mind, the ability to be shapeless and limitless and have infinite possibilities through God. All things are possible through Christ who gives me strength. And God has restored my youth like the eagle, so that I may have the endurance to run his race and not grow weary. So, everything goes back to God. God is my ultimate power. But listen to this, Ariel. I tapped into something that was very, very profound for me. I started studying Iceman Wim Hof. I said, this guy is able to control his immune system by tapping in to his mind-body connection on another level. This man has 26 Guinness World Records. This man has done things that defy the odds of naturalness. And if it's defying the odds of the book, if it's just the medicine books are saying, what's this guy doing? All right, let's hook him up. Let's do some tests on him. Let's see what's up with this guy. He's a weirdo like Diego, and what's he doing? How's he doing this? The guy was injected with endotoxin, which is basically like Ebola virus. He was able to fight it off with his mind. And then he's like, "No, anybody could do this. Anybody has the capabilities." So when I was searching and I was searching and searching and adapting myself into this new regiment of Iceman Wim Hof training, I I actually went out and I met with Iceman Wim Hof. I learned from him personally. I went and learned I really went to the maximum to get this. I wanted this crucial, vital knowledge that was going to expand my consciousness to be able to connect with my mind and my body on a deeper level. And so, as exploring and as researching for this, I found something different, man, and I was able to connect, and I was able to connect to myself, and with this connection, I have found an abundance of energy, abundance of recovery, an abundance of healing, and healing even on a microcellular regeneration of the synapses in my brain, the removal of dead waste matter, all also well with application of CBD products. There's so much that I'm doing. There's so much that I'm involved in right now. I'm continuing to learn, to evolve and adapt, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I'm still learning. I'm still working at this. I feel like after I'm done with this interview, I'm gonna head down to the UFC PI and go and jump in their ice bath and get some good ice therapy, and make that connection, and we'll see what's next for me with my fighting and everything that I'm going through. I'm going through a divorce. It's a challenge.
I'm sorry.
It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. So Mickey Gall knew this all along. I told him he tried to get me to fight in January, and I was like, look, bro, I'm going through a divorce right now. I was talking with him, and he just continued to be disrespectful. I was like, all right, bro, all right, you should have just kept it respectful. You know what I'm going through. Now I'm gonna put this pain on your face. Now I'm gonna put this pain on your face. I'm gonna put all the pain from my divorce. I'm gonna put it on your face, and that's exactly what I did. I went out there and it was a different Diego out there. I promise you, Ariel. It was a different Diego. I was calm. I was breathing. I was in the moment, and I learned so much. I learned so much, and I'm excited to get back in there and fight again and do what I love. I do this with passion. I do this with heart, and I'm the original guy from the start. I'm $40 million in debt. The UFC was when I came on board, to selling for $4 billion, to putting exciting fight on after exciting fight on, many wars. I'll tell you what, I withstood the test of time, and I'm still here. I'm still going strong, and I'm still visioning and putting my mind where it needs to be on becoming the UFC welterweight champion of the world. I haven't given up on my dream. The love of my life might have gave up on me, and I might be going through trials and tribulation, but I didn't give up on me, and I'm not giving up on me. I'm never giving up on myself, and I know God didn't give up on me. And so with those two people working together, me and God, I'm good. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep doing what I love. And for all the people out there who don't know, I'm doing great. My speech is improving, and my mind, my memory, I feel awesome. I feel like I'm getting younger every day. I am defying the odds. I am doing what has never been done before, and it's going to be a great story to watch unfold.
It is a great story that we're watching unfolding, and I'm sorry to hear about the divorce. I didn't know about that, Diego. I hope that you're handling it okay. I mean, you seem to be in good spirits, but I know how difficult that could be. So I hope that you're doing okay with that.
It is what it is. It is what it is, and you learn, you adapt, you prepare yourself, you do the best you can. But it is what it is, and I'm a Christian man. I'm against divorce, but what happened had to happen, and I'm not going to get into the details of my divorce. I'll give her, the benefit of that for now, But as far as things are going, it's in God's hands. I'm a child of God. I'm blessed. I'm protected. I'm healed, and I'm guided. And and everything's falling into place for me. And this is my year, and I'm coming for that belt.
Bless you, Diego. You're incredible, my man. We are lucky to have you in this sport. I'm so happy for you with what you're doing, how you're turning things around. You're on a winning streak. You're beating the youngsters. It's incredible. You're one of the last of a dying breed in this sport, and it's so great to see you continue to have success in 2019. So I wish you nothing but the best. Enjoy your time in Las Vegas, and thanks, as always, for coming on the show, Diego.
Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it, man. God bless. And everybody, give me a follow on IG. Give me my products page a follow. I got a lot of stuff coming up, big business things. And, yeah, that's Diego Sanchez right there, the brand.
Nice.
DS.
I like
all the
it.
way.
All right. All the best to you, Diego. Wow, what a guy Diego Sanchez is. What a performance. One of a kind. Truly an original. So great to see him continue to have success here in 2019. Okay. Final guest of the day, and this is a fun little treat. We haven't talked to Mackenzie Dern in quite some time. I think it was last May after her last victory that we spoke to. You may have heard she announced some great news on social media around 2 weeks or so ago. She is now pregnant. Wow, this is amazing. Let's talk to Mackenzie Dern about this and a whole lot more. Mackenzie, how are you?
Hi, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing really well. In my country, they say mazel tov when someone is pregnant. So mazel tov. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that with the world. Was it like you were in the midst of your UFC career? You were undefeated. Is this something that you planned for, or is it just sort of a surprise?
No, it was a surprise for sure. But I'm so happy. And I would recently just did one interview here in Brazil, and they said that they never had like a mom be the champion of the UFC, like with the belt. So I feel like, oh, there's another goal I can do and I can have. So I'm really excited for this opportunity to maybe even make history.
Yes.
I'm excited. I want to fight still this year, hopefully. And so we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to give me even more motivation now.
Wow, so you say you want to fight this year. When is your due date?
May.
May. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I mean, I haven't gained any weight yet. My doctor, she wants me to start gaining weight, so I haven't like gained pregnancy weight yet. So I'm supposed to try and gain weight the next 10 weeks until the baby is born. So we'll see. But I think it mostly has to do with if it's gonna be like a normal labor or a C-section. We'll see. I think that will depend on like how fast I can recover and everything. But I'm doing lots of things, like people even like criticize me for how much I'm doing, like surfing, training, running, doing lots of stuff. So I don't know. I think I'm probably maybe more like a crazy mom, but as long as my body's like feeling good and the baby's doing good, like moving and everything, and it's healthy, then we're good to go.
Yeah, I don't think you should listen to anyone. In fact, my wife gave birth to 3 kids, and she worked out the day that she gave birth every single time. She went all the way till the end. So don't listen to anyone.
That's awesome.
And so I think sometimes when people find out about this, they think, oh, this is going to affect your career, but you're going to continue to compete. No problems. You want to keep going after giving birth.
Yes, for sure. That was like kind of, because I'm like 7 months right now. So it was a big thing of when we were going to announce, it was kind of like not hard for me, but I had to kind of like create courage to actually announce it on Instagram and social media. For everyone I knew, like, because of my last fight, I didn't make weight. And I was thinking, like, man, everyone's going to say, like, that I'm never going to come back anymore. Oh, it's going to ruin my career. And even for my baby, like, thinking, man, what's my kid going to think when they see that in the future, like, man, that they ruined my mom's career and everything. So I was kind of like, okay, but I think it's important, that the fans be involved, and I think they'll like to see my trainings and how I come back and seeing like a mom fighting and stuff. I'm inspired by all the moms in the UFC, so I feel like, man, why can't I share my story too? And it's crazy, like just after I post like my pregnancy and everything, I lost like maybe 10,000 fans.
No way.
And I feel like, yeah, it's great. But I think it's good. It's kind of like cleaning up my Instagram a little bit. It's not just those people who want to see like a fighter with like a bikini body, it's like people who actually want to see you with all your faces of light and like the help, all those different things, who really cheer for you, like in the wins and the losses and the ups and downs. So I'm cool with it. It's fun.
Yeah, and I suspect you'll gain a lot more fans, people that you inspire mothers, different kind of people. So there's nothing wrong with that as well. Do you know the
Yeah,
sex of the baby?
I do, but it's a surprise.
Okay,
Pretty soon.
fair
We're gonna
enough.
announce
Fair
it.
enough. I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm just curious. If it's a boy or a girl, they say to you at some point, we want to do what you did in your career. We want to be a fighter. We want to practice jiu-jitsu. We want to compete. Will you encourage them to do that as well?
For sure, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, daddy, he's a surfer, professional surfer. Mom is a professional fighter, so if they want to surf or fight, hopefully they decide to do one of those. I know for sure, at least we both have success in our occupations, our careers.
Yeah.
So I know that like we have all the we have all the like we know all the ways and what they need to do to get the success. So any advice they'll need, any opportunities, like we know everything that they would need to be able to give them the opportunities that they need. So
Yeah.
hopefully the baby wants to do one of those. Hopefully fighting. I'm hoping for fighting.
Oh, wow.
But if they want to fight, I know what you need to have success. So I have my dad teach me that, and all the ups and downs of battles I went through. So hopefully I can make it like an easier path for them to have success in their career too.
Is this something that you always dreamed of? Did you always want to be a mother?
I always knew that I wanted to be a mom and not retire. So I always knew that.
Okay.
Even like when I was younger, I even like felt like, man, maybe it's better I have a kid younger, like 20 years old, and I can still be like young and come back and fight and all these things. But I always knew I didn't want to like accomplish my whole career and then have a kid just when I retired. I wanted to have a kid watch me fight. I think that's because my dad, I grew up watching my dad compete until today. He's competing, and I'm so inspired by him. So I think maybe growing up with that, I always knew that I wanted that for me too.
Have you talked to any of the other moms who then, continued their career, how they felt afterwards, how long it took to get back on track, to get your body feeling good again, to feel calm? Have you reached out to anyone?
In the MMA world, no, not yet. But in jiu-jitsu, yeah, like talked to lots of my girlfriends in jiu-jitsu who came back and won the world championships after they had babies and all these things. So definitely talked, and the same thing. They were training up until like the week that they gave birth and everything, and of course not like sparring and stuff like that. But doing drills and not letting your body be totally, stopped. So it's inspiring, and I don't have any doubts that it's going to be a great journey.
So even now at 7 months, you're still practicing jiu-jitsu? Oh, we may have lost her. Okay. We're going to reconnect with Mackenzie Dern. How great is this story? This is amazing. Very happy for Mackenzie and her family. And as you heard just moments ago, she says she does want to continue her career. She wants to fight again this year. Amazing. 7-0 as a UFC fighter, 2-0 as a fighter in the UFC, 7-0 as a professional. There's the announcement right over there on Instagram. As she mentioned, her partner is a professional surfer, so that kid is going to have some incredible genes. Professional surfer, professional fighter, one of the all-time great Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners, Mackenzie Dern. Last time we saw her in action was UFC 224, so May of last year. It's been almost a year, maybe even around her due. She said her due date's in May. Maybe it'll be around that time. But I reported actually maybe now it's been a couple of months, certainly several weeks, that she was going to take that time off to reassess her career, to find out what was the best weight class for her, 115 or 125. I reported a couple weeks ago that she had decided it was going to be, no, not a couple weeks ago. It's probably been a couple months now, 115. But hey, then she got pregnant. So these things happen in life, as we all know. And we are certainly, as the UFC has welcomed the females to the organization, we are no stranger to moms competing in the UFC. Kat Zingano famously fought Ronda Rousey for the title, UFC 184. In fact, it was the anniversary just last week. There's Sarah McMahon, Michelle Watterson, who's competing on March 30th in Philadelphia. Who else is there? Misha Tate recently, but she hasn't competed since since giving birth. Let's go back to the Skype machine and say hello to Mackenzie. Mackenzie, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. And so I was wondering, so you say that you want to come back this year. That's all well and good. I reported a few months ago that you had decided that when you do come back, I think before this all came out, that you were going to remain as a 115-pounder, a straw weight. Is that true? When you come back, is that still the plan?
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure the plan. Before everything was kind of the pregnancy and everything, I even talked with my manager. We talked about 125. They offered one girl for me at 125, but they didn't have really so many options. It was just one girl, and I had told my manager I didn't want to stay at 125. If I was gonna do 125, would just kind of to show the UFC, okay, I make weight at 125, and then for them to give me the chance to fight back at 115, making weight. So I thought for me who didn't want to stay at 125, I didn't have really too many options to fight people and things like that. Wouldn't really do anything for me in ranking wise or anything like that. So I said I'll just kind of wait a little bit longer and make the weight cut to 115. So at least that way the next person I fight will help my rank, stuff like that. So definitely my idea is to stay at 115 and maybe later do 125. But we were thinking 125, maybe do a couple fights there, but hopefully after the pregnancy I can go back down to 115 right away.
I mentioned we haven't seen you compete since May. Did you plan on taking this kind of break? I mean, obviously this, as you said earlier, wasn't a plan, but there wasn't a lot of talk about you the back end of the year and, towards 2019. After what happened in your last fight with missing the weight, did you want to, I know you went to the PI and spoke to people. Did you want to just take some time off? Was that the original goal?
No, I wanted to fight in November.
Oh.
I wanted to fight in November and December, but I wasn't cleared to fight those months. So I went down there and they told me the things that they wanted me to do and stuff, and then I asked to fight November, and then they didn't clear me to fight at 115 in November, and then I said okay, I'll do December, and then I wasn't cleared. Well, not that I wasn't cleared December. They said okay for December, but then the card filled up in December.
Okay.
And then they had asked me to fight on one of the ESPN cards in 2019, but then the pregnancy happened.
Yes.
So my goal was definitely to fight November, December. We were trying to do that, but then it ended up not happening, and then I got the surprise. So I definitely wanted to fight, but it's crazy, it seems like a long time, but I feel maybe because I fought Vegas and Brazil so close together, I don't feel like I've been away that long,
Right.
I feel I don't feel like it's been that long, but I think people were kind of so used to seeing me fight one after the other, and doing good that it's, I see comments and stuff. Everyone's like, man, it's going to be forever to see a fight. I'm like, no, I'm going to be back soon,
And by the way, are you, even at 7 months, are you still rolling now, or have you taken a break from jiu-jitsu?
No, I took more of a break for jiu-jitsu on the first couple months, where it's a little bit more dangerous for miscarriages and things like that. But now I'm rolling, and doing hitting mitts and things like that, training, but kind of just having fun during my pregnancy now,
Yes, of course.
not having a goal, just enjoying the pregnancy. It's almost here. I feel man, 7 months has gone by so fast, and I just have 2 months and a half left.
Yeah.
So and then gonna go hardcore training after, so enjoy it now.
It's a beautiful time, especially the last few months together. It's really nice as you're preparing. We'll end on this. What are you most looking forward to as a mom for motherhood, to experience motherhood? Is there something in particular? Maybe everything is the answer. I don't know, but is there something that comes to mind?
I really don't even know what to expect. I think every person is different. Like I said, people just have so many, the whole ride I've been through, people just, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Don't eat sushi, and I'm eating sushi, and I, I'm doing these things. But everything, I'm talking with my doctor. She's said, man, you're kind of crazy, but hey, the baby's doing good, the baby's healthy and everything. She's my doctor's really good. So I kind of don't know what to expect, I'm excited for the whole experience, but I think I'm most excited, for me to be back in the cage and fighting for the baby, and fighting
Yeah.
for my family and having a motivation, even more motivation. It's not just people talking about, oh, I don't want people to talk about not making weight or this and that. It's like, no, I'm doing it for something more than just me. And
Yeah.
that's exciting. So, but the motherhood, man, it's going to be such a great surprise, and I'm so happy for it and excited.
Well, a lot of people ask me about it. The only thing I could say, your life is going to be 100 times better come May when you become a mom. It's the greatest gift in the world, and I've yet to meet a person who says otherwise after they experience it. So I think you guys are going to love every second. And I love the idea of being the first mom to win a UFC title. That's a nice challenge to go for now.
That's awesome,
maybe,
right?
yeah, it's incredible. We've seen a lot of dads become UFC champion, but never a mom. So that's a great thing for you to strive for. Thank you so much for doing this, Mackenzie. I hope the next few months for you go smoothly and everyone's healthy, and I hope the delivery goes very well as well. And I really appreciate you coming on and not only sharing this with us, but coming on to talk about it all. It's great to catch up with you again.
Thanks so much, Ariel. Always great talking to you, and I love your show. Thanks all the fans and everyone for all the support during this journey. And don't worry, I'll be back in the cage soon.
All right. Good luck to you, Mackenzie. Thank you so much. There she is. Mackenzie Dern, soon to be perhaps the first mom to win a UFC championship. How cool is that? Good for her. It's amazing to see, and I think we should all support that she's coming out and talking about it, and it's something really exciting for her and her partner to go through. So thank you very much to her. Thank you to all our guests who have joined us today. A reminder that the UFC is back this weekend. Their streak of shows continues. They are in Wichita, Kansas. Beautiful Wichita, Kansas. Do we have one of those fancy full screens there? Okay, Corporate Jake, this was your time to shine. The fancy full screen and the song. By the way, please, everyone out there, back off on Corporate Jake. I mean, he has taken a beating. It's been like a 10-7 round ever since New York Rick revealed to the world that Corporate Jake was behind his untimely dismissal on this program. I think a lot of people have been peppering Corporate Jake with all kinds of.
I could take it. Don't worry.
Do you want to address this, Corporate Jake? Do you want to break the silence?
I mean, I said it on Twitter on, I believe it was Saturday.
Okay.
That you just got to cut dead weight when you notice it. So it's okay.
You just got to cut that weight. Wow, that is amazing. Let me tell you something. He didn't earn that moniker for nothing. Corporate Jake is ruthless. Much like this lineup, ESPN Plus, this Saturday. Prelims begin at 5 p.m. Eastern. I love that music. Gets me all hot inside. And then the main card continues at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. main card, Eastern. You hear me? Eastern, 8 p.m. That's amazing. Main event, Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos. What a fight at heavyweight. Some other notable fights. Curtis Millender coming back. Bogoy Ivanov against the returning Ben Rothwell. We haven't seen Ben Rothwell in like 2 years. He had that suspension. Tried to catch up with him, but he said, I'm not doing any interviews. I want to fly under the radar. I just want to focus on the task at hand. Also, Tim Means versus Nico Price. Benil Dariush returning against Drew Dober. Tim Boach returning as well against Omari Akhmedov. And like I said, the prelims begin at 5 p.m. Eastern. Marion Renault against Yana Kunitskaya. Also, the return of Anthony Rocco Martin. Don't call him Tony Martin against Sergio Moraes. So there's a lot to like there on Saturday. Luis Smolka as well against Matt Schnell. I like that card very much. I didn't ask for the music. It's just happening?
Yeah, it's just happening.
Wow. Okay.
You're a little under the weather, trying to save that voice.
Well, I appreciate that. Corporate Jake doesn't have to go home, but I guess we have to get the hell out of here. It's snowing outside. There was a big snowstorm. We almost didn't make it. But come hell or high water, we do this show for all of you. Thank you very much to all our guests. Thanks to all of you who have tuned in. It has been a fun day. Congratulations to Kamaru Usman, the new UFC welterweight champion. And, of course, congratulations as well to Johnny Bones Jones. A reminder that we're back on ESPN2 tomorrow at, I do believe, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. So please do support the Helwani TV show. That's where we like to do our thing. Not only on the radio, not only on digital, but on television as well. We are multifaceted. We are the kings of multimedia here, and queens. Anyway, thank you very much to all our guests. Ben Askren, Colby Covington, Henry Hooft, Max Holloway, Mike Winklejohn, Brandon Gibson, Diego Sanchez, Johnny Walker, Tyron Woodley, and Mackenzie Dern. Thanks to them. Thanks to all of you. If you missed anything, iTunes, Stitcher, the app, ESPN.com, all those places and more. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. Somebody.